Good morning, dear friend. The first light of dawn stretches softly across the horizon, wrapping the world in a gentle embrace of gold and silence. I want to welcome you to this sacred moment. The stillness of early morning holds a kind of hollowness that no other time of day can match. It is not loud or demanding. It does not rush. It simply invites. In this quiet hour before the world begins to pull at you, before tasks and burdens return to your shoulders, something eternal waits to be awakened within you. Perhaps you are sitting alone in your room, or driving through empty streets as the sun begins to rise. Maybe your heart is heavy today. Maybe your soul feels restless, tired from carrying something too deep to speak aloud. I want to tell you a story, not one of grandeur, but one that is real. A woman once stood in her kitchen before sunrise. Her hands trembled slightly as she reached for her morning cup of coffee. Just hours earlier, she had cried herself to sleep, overwhelmed by news she had not expected. Her job was gone. Her savings were fading, and the person she trusted the most had turned away without explanation. Everything that once felt certain now stood on shaking ground. The silence in her house felt louder than it had ever been. But as the early morning lights spilled quietly through the window, something in her spirit stirred. She did not have answers. She did not even know what to pray. But she whispered one thing: "God, I am here." And in that whisper, something happened not outside her, but within. Peace did not roar in like a storm. It came softly, like the first breeze through an open window. Maybe that is where you are today. Maybe you have carried plans, dreams, fears, and questions in the secrecy of your heart, unsure where to place them. Maybe you are not even sure you believe that change is possible. I want to speak to that silent space inside you, the place that still hopes even when everything says it should not. That part of you is sacred. That part of you is not abandoned. What if today could be different? Not because all your problems disappear, because you choose to bring them into the light of God's presence. What if this morning was not just another start, but a holy invitation into something deeper, something that does not need to be proven to others, something that does not need to be loud, something that grows quietly in the dark and blooms in its time. Faith is not always bold and bright. Sometimes it is quiet and trembling. Sometimes it looks like showing up in the stillness with nothing but your breath and your brokenness. But it is in that posture, humble, open, willing, that prayer becomes a lifeline. Not just words to heaven, but a conversation with the one who already knows, already sees, and already holds what you are afraid to say. This morning, I want to invite you into that conversation. I want to walk with you into the secret place, not the one made by human hands, but the one that exists between your soul and the heart of God. Here, you do not need to pretend. Here, you do not need to explain. You only need to be present. The journey ahead is not about eloquence or perfection. It is about presence. It is about trust. And it is about letting your heart return, not to answers, but to the source. So, breathe. Be still. Let the morning speak. And when you are ready, we will begin this sacred time together. Dear Heavenly Father, Here I am again in the quiet of this early morning, before the noise comes, before the world begins to pull me in 1,000 directions, before I even know what to say, before the words form on my tongue. I come to sit with you, not because I have the right words, but because I need you, because I know that in the stillness, you are near. The light outside is just beginning to stretch across the earth, soft and golden, like a whisper of hope, and my soul, though wary, rises to meet it. This moment before the day takes its shape feels sacred, not because everything in my life is calm, but because I know you are present in the calm and the storm. You are here, in this first breath of morning. I come not with polished prayers or tidy thoughts, but with my heart wide open, raw and honest. You see the places in me I have not spoken aloud. You know what I carry in silence, the questions I pretend not to have, the fears I press down, the longings I keep buried. You know it all. And still, you wait for me here. Sometimes I think I need to bring you something more, something better. But maybe, this morning, all I need to bring is myself, the messy parts, the tired parts, the parts that do not know what is next. Maybe this is what you want, to meet me where I really am, not where I pretend to be. So here I am, not trying to impress you, not trying to perform, just here, sitting in the quiet, where I can feel the faint hum of your presence. I can always see you, but I know you are near, like the light that slowly touches the edge of a field. You begin to touch the edges of my soul, and even though I can explain it, something in me begins to breathe again. There is something holy about this hour. Something about it feels like a doorway to you, as if you have carved out this space in time just for us, just for this moment, not to fix everything in an instant, but to begin something deep and unseen. I think of the earth before it wakes, the soil waiting for a seed, the sky waiting for the sun, and I realize that is me. I am the soil. I am the field. I am the quiet place waiting for your hand to move, for your voice to whisper something I did not know I needed. I am not rushing today. I have rushed too much before. I have filled the silence with noise, tried to outrun the tried to find peace in things that could never hold it, but not now. Now, I want to sit in this beginning with you. I want to trust that what you begin in quiet, you will finish in glory. Sometimes the deepest prayers have no sound. Sometimes they are sighs, or tears, or the trembling hope that maybe, just maybe, you are doing something in the silence. And maybe that is enough for now. I do not need the whole picture today. I do not need to know where every step leads. I just need to know that you are with me in this one, that you are here as the light rises, as the world begins to stir, as my heart dares to believe again. I give you my breath, my beginning, my first thoughts. I place this day in your hands, not because I know how it will unfold, because I trust the one who holds it. Thank you for waiting for me in the stillness. Thank you for never rushing me, never demanding more than I can give. You take what I offer, even when it is broken. You hold it with grace. You hold me with grace, Let this be our meeting place today, not just now, but in every hour that follows. Let this be the space where peace begins, not because life is easy, but because you are near. Let this be the moment where hope returns. Not loudly, but quietly, like the morning itself. And if my heart forgets later when the chaos comes, when the world gets loud, remind me of this moment. Remind me of this peace. Remind me that I was with you here, that I started the day not alone, but in your presence. No one else needs to understand this place. No one else needs to see it. It is not for display. It is not for applause. It is for you and me, a holy place that lives between your heart and mine. So I open myself to you. I let go of what I do not need to carry. I breathe in your nearness, and I wait, not because I am doing nothing, but because waiting with you is doing the most important thing of all. You are not a distant God. You are not beyond reach. You are closer than breath, deeper than thought, more faithful than the rising sun. And this morning, I choose to trust that, even if everything else feels uncertain, even if I do not feel strong, even if I do not know how to pray, I choose to believe that you are here. I choose to begin again, in the quiet, in the stillness, in you, Lord. In this soft unfolding of the day, I remain with you. The hush of morning still surrounds me, like a veil not yet lifted, and my heart, though tender, leans into the silence with expectation. There is something inside me that knows this quiet is not empty. It holds something sacred, something more than just the absence of sound. It holds you. What I feel now is not loud or certain. It is a whisper, small and steady, deep within the parts of me I rarely bring to light. It does not shout to be heard. It does not demand attention. It simply waits, like you always do. You never push, never force your way into my chaos. Instead, you wait for me in the stillness, inviting, not insisting. I think of all the places I have searched for answers. I have looked in the noise of approval, in the echo of other people's voices. I have tried to anchor myself in explanations, in plans, in certainty. But this morning, I realize the only place where my soul can truly breathe is in your presence. Hidden away from the rush, far from the reach of applause or judgment, there is a secret place in you, a quiet room in the depths of your heart where I can come as I am. No masks, no performances, and you meet me there with nothing but mercy. You welcome me into the place where no one else sees, no one else hears, yet you dwell fully. It is not a physical space, but I feel it as real as breath. I do not have to be strong here. I do not have to explain myself. You already know the unspoken things. You know the thoughts I did not finish, the prayers I was too tired to speak, the ache I tucked beneath my smile. And somehow, you are not overwhelmed by any of it. Sometimes I wonder why you love me like this, so patiently, so quietly, so deeply. You do not just meet me in the victories or the breakthroughs. You meet me in the in-between, in the not yet, in the middle of the story when nothing feels resolved and hope feels fragile. This secret place is not a hiding place out of fear. It is a sanctuary built out of trust. I come here not to escape the world, but to remember that I do not walk through it alone. I come here to be reminded that I am more than what I do, more than what I fear, more than what others expect of me. I come here to remember that I am yours, God. There are things in my heart that I do not even fully understand. Deep longings, quiet hopes, lingering wounds. And here, in this space with you, I do not have to sort them all out. I just have to offer them. So I do. I open my hands in this silence and release what I cannot carry. I ask you to meet me here, in the space where words fade and hearts speak without sound. Meet me in the place where trust begins to grow, not with declarations, but with stillness. Teach me to dwell in the unseen, to believe that what happens in this secret place matters more than anything visible. Let this space between you and me become the center from which everything else flows. Let it be the soil where faith grows slowly, deeply, away from the eyes of others. Let it be the quiet chamber where wisdom is formed, where strength is whispered into the softest places of my soul. I am learning not to fear being hidden. I am learning that unseen is not unloved. In fact, some of the most holy things happen in the hidden. The seed does not bloom in the light. It roots in darkness. It reaches downward before it ever breaks the surface. And maybe that is what you are doing in me. Help me not to rush past this sacred obscurity. Help me not to despise the quiet. You are shaping something in me here, something that does not need recognition to be real. Something that is growing at the pace of eternity. You are not impressed by noise. You are drawn to the genuine, and you dwell with those who dare to be honest before you. So here I am, still learning how to be unafraid of my own quiet, still learning how to let you in, not with fanfare, but with surrender. Speak, if you want to, or simply stay with me. Either way, I know you are near. I know this place is holy because you are in it. I do not need a sign. I do not need to feel a surge. I just need to remember that the secret place is real, and it is yours, and it is mine. There is no pressure here. No measuring. No proving. Only presence. Only love. Only a God who sees what no one else does and calls it beautiful anyway. This is where I begin again, not with answers, but with awareness, not with grand declarations, with the soft sound of my heart turning toward yours. And as the world begins to wake, I ask you to let this stillness go with me. Let the hush of this morning echo through my thoughts, through my steps, through every corner of this day. Keep this whisper alive in me. Let it speak louder than fear, louder than hurry, louder than doubt. Let it remind me that I belong to you not because of what I show, but because of what I bring to this hidden space. And even when the day gets loud, help me return here again and again, to the place where you wait, where you see, where you love me without performance. Let the whisper become a song. Let the song become a rhythm. And let that rhythm carry me wherever you lead. God, as I stay with you in this sacred hush, I begin to sense the weight of things hidden, not burdens, but treasures I have kept buried deep. The whisper that began in the quiet now starts to stir something deeper, something that has lived quietly inside me for a long time. I feel it waking slowly my dreams, my longings, my hopes that never had the chance to grow in the open. They rise now, not with noise, but with courage. There are things you placed in my heart long ago, seeds of purpose, quiet visions, fragments of calling. Some I barely understood when they first came. Others I dismissed out of fear. And some I simply tucked away, afraid the world would crush them before they had a chance to breathe. But even in hiding, they did not die. In the shadow, they began to root. You know each of these dreams, Father, the ones I whispered in the dark, the ones I wept over when no one was watching. You saw me when I wondered if I had made them up, when I doubted whether they were from you or just wishful thinking. Still, you held them. Still, you held me. Now, in this early morning stillness, I offer them back to you, not with the pressure to perform, but with the trust of a child handing their father something precious, unsure if it is good enough, but hoping you will see its worth. I bring them not to demand their fulfillment, but to place them again in your hands, the safest hands. There is something holy about surrendering what I love most. It hurts, but it heals. It frees me from the need to prove or protect. And in letting go, I discover that dreams grow best when they are not constantly pulled at or exposed to harsh light. They grow in the shelter of your presence, nurtured by time and trust. Lord, help me believe that what you plant in shadow is not forgotten. Teach me that unseen does not mean unimportant. Just as roots dig deep before fruit appears, so too must these dreams take their time. I may not see their fullness now, but that does not mean you are not working. You are always working. Sometimes I worry I have wasted too much time, that I should be farther along, that others have moved ahead while I have stood still. But you are not bound by comparison. Your timing is not pressured by the pace of the world. You move with purpose, not urgency. And I want to learn how to wait with you, not just for you. I do not want to carry these dreams as burdens anymore. I want to carry them as promises, silent, sacred, slowly unfolding. I want to walk with the quiet confidence that if you began something in me, you will be faithful to finish it. Not every dream is meant to be shared right away. Some things are too tender to be spoken before they have matured. Help me to guard what is holy. Help me to know when to speak and when to be silent. Give me the grace to carry dreams in my heart like hidden oil, waiting for the moment you say, now. I remember that you often speak in parables of planting of fields, of seeds, of vineyards. You remind me that growth is often unseen, that harvest comes later, always later. And in between is the mystery, the silence, the dark soil, the time when nothing appears to be changing. But still, life is stirring below the surface. Let me not despise this part. Let me not rush the process. I want to trust the beauty of slow beginnings. I want to find peace in the in-between. I want to know that this silence is not punishment, it is protection. You are not withholding, you are preparing. And if the dream you gave me looks different than I expected, let me not reject it. If the path is longer, if the shape changes, if the timing stretches, help me not to give up. Help me to believe that you know better, that you are the author and finisher, that you are the gardener of my soul. I do not need to shout these dreams to the world. I just need to whisper them to you. You are the only one who needs to know. You are the only one who can make them grow. And if I must wait longer, I will wait with hope. If I must remain hidden, I will remain in trust. You have never wasted a moment of my life. You have never forgotten a single cry. And I believe, even now, that you are doing something in me that will matter beyond what I can see. So I stay here a little longer in the shadow. I lean into the quiet. I release my plans, my expectations, my need for control. And I choose to believe in the God who brings things to life in secret. The God who breathes on the unseen. The God who holds my dreams more gently than I ever could. Let your timing be my comfort. Let your wisdom guide my steps. Let your presence be the place where every seed rests until its season comes. And even if no one else understands this waiting, even if no one sees what I carry, I know you do. That is enough. You are enough. And in this hidden place, I find peace. Father, as I remain with you in this still and sacred space, the weight of waiting begins to press more deeply into me. I want to trust that the seeds you planted are growing, that the dreams entrusted to your timing are safe, but sometimes the silence feels heavier than peace. Sometimes, if I am honest, it does not feel like quiet comfort. It feels like absence. It feels like being forgotten. I know you never leave. I know you are always working, always weaving, always moving in ways I cannot see. And yet, there are moments when I call and nothing answers. When I knock and no door opens, when I look for a trace of you and find only the shadows of my own doubt. And in those moments, something inside me whispers, what if he is not listening? God. I do not want to believe that. But sometimes, when the days stretch on and nothing shifts, I wonder if you have turned your face away. I wonder if the silence means I have done something wrong, or that you have changed your mind, or that I have been passed over. I try not to let these thoughts in, but they come uninvited, quietly, in the dark hours when no one sees me wrestle. I know faith is not about feelings. I know trust is not always easy. But still, it hurts when heaven feels closed. It hurts when my prayers feel like they vanish into the air. I keep showing up. I keep speaking to you. But there are days when all I hear is the sound of my own voice. And I leave wondering if it made any difference. Lord, I do not need every answer. I do not need a miracle on demand. But I need to know I am not alone in this silence. I need to know you have not abandoned me here. I need to know this stillness is not rejection, but invitation, a deeper kind of communion that goes beyond words. Help me to remember that your silence is not a punishment, that it is not cruelty, that you are not withholding your voice to wound me, but to refine me. Maybe there is something you are growing in me that cannot be rushed. Maybe there is something you are protecting me from by staying hidden for now. If this is a season of stretching, let it be one that expands my soul instead of collapsing it. This is a place of unknowing. Let it become sacred ground, not because I understand, but because I choose to stay with you in the middle of it. I look back on other times in my life when I thought you were silent and realize now you were closer than I could feel. You were preparing me in ways I did not recognize until later. And so I ask for the grace to believe that even now, even here, you are doing something I will one day thank you for. I do not want to let this silence harden me. I do not want to become bitter or closed off. I want to remain soft, open, willing to trust you again tomorrow, even if today feels empty. I want to be the kind of soul that says, even here, I choose to believe. Let me not measure your love by how loud you speak. Let me measure it by the cross that already answered every question I could ever ask. Let me measure it by the breath in my lungs, the sunrise you painted, the fact that I am still being held, even in my uncertainty. God, I am not asking you to shout. I am just asking you to hold me steady. I am asking you to help me stay close even when I feel far. To help me keep reaching even when I do not feel you reaching back. Remind me that faith is often quiet, that love often waits, that presence is not proven by volume but by depth, and in the stillness, if I strain my soul beyond fear and weariness, I find a whisper. Not loud, not clear, but enough to keep going, enough to breathe through the waiting, enough to stay planted, even when nothing is blooming yet. Lord, if this is part of the process, then let me not fight it. Let me not flee it. Let me stay and let it shape me. Let it teach me patience that outlasts disappointment, trust that does not demand evidence, hope that rises even from the dust of silence. You know how to meet me. You know the exact moment to speak, the precise word to stir life back into dry bones. But until then, teach me how to listen not for thunder, but for the sacred quiet. Teach me to recognize you in the stillness I once feared. If you are silent, help me believe you are not absent. If you are hidden, help me trust you are still working. If you feel far, help me reach anyway. If I doubt, hold me through it. And if I fall silent myself, overwhelmed or unsure, meet me there too. This place feels fragile, but I will not run. I will stay with you here. I will sit in the H. I will breathe through the questions. I will wait in the tension between what I long for and what you are doing in me. Because deep down, even when the silence aches, I believe you are good. I believe you are near. I believe you are the God who does not waste a single moment of surrender, even the ones soaked in tears. So I will not close my heart. I will not give up this nearness, just because it does not feel the way I expected. I will remain. I will hope. I will listen. Not for what I want to hear, but for what you are gently teaching me to receive. And even now, with no answers, with no visible change, with nothing certain but you, I say yes to this moment. I say yes to the silence, because I believe you are still here. I believe this too is love. Lord, as I linger with you in the echoes of silence, something begins to settle in my spirit, not an answer, not a resolution, but a quiet clarity, a gentle recognition that some things are not meant to be spoken yet. Some things are too delicate, too sacred, to be exposed before their time. And in that recognition, I begin to understand how easily we can place holy things into unready hands. I have felt the sting of that mistake before. The times I shared what was still forming, hoping someone would affirm it, protect it, understand it. But instead, it was questioned, misunderstood, minimized. What felt like a tender beginning was met with doubt or dismissal, and something inside me recoiled. Father, I now see that not every secret is meant to be told. Not every stirring of the heart is meant to be placed on display. Some revelations are invitations between you and me alone until you say otherwise. And I do not want to rush that anymore. I do not want to offer what has not yet been rooted, just to satisfy my fear of being invisible. Sometimes I crave being known so deeply that I expose the very things you have asked me to protect. I tell too soon. I trust too easily. I place my dreams, still tender and growing, into the hands of people who do not know how to carry them, not out of malice, but simply because they were not meant to. Help me, God, to be wise with what you have placed within me. Help me to discern the difference between secrecy and sacredness. Teach me to recognize the value of what is still hidden. Let me not confuse concealment with shame. Hiding something does not mean it lacks worth. It may simply mean it needs time, shelter, and your timing. Just like the earliest light of day is soft and fragile before it becomes strong enough to break across the sky, so too are the beginnings you birth in me. They do not need to be rushed into brilliance. They need to be nurtured in peace. I confess the times I have looked for validation in human voices instead of in yours, when I have let insecurity push me to seek affirmation instead of standing still in quiet trust. I have tried to prove myself before I was ready. I have invited people into parts of my soul that were meant to be kept between you and me for a while longer. Lord, I know you do not shame me for these things. You gently teach me. You lovingly redirect me. So today, I ask for the courage to hold back, to let things grow in private, to value the secret place over the spotlight. If you have called me to build something, then help me to build it quietly until you say it is time to reveal. If you have placed a calling in me, let me serve it in silence until you bring the light. If you have spoken something sacred, let me treasure it like a precious seed, not tossed about for public opinion, but protected in holy soil. Teach me, Father, that sometimes silence is not withholding, but wisdom. That sometimes what I protect is not just for my good, but for the purity of what you are creating. Not everything sacred is meant to be shared too soon. I remember stories in your word. Joseph, who told his dreams too early and found himself in a pit. Samson, who gave away the secret of his strength and lost what you had given him. Even Jesus often told people, "Tell no one yet," because the time had not come. Timing matters. Protection matters. And now, more than ever, I want to walk in that wisdom. Let me not speak out of fear. Let me not share out of restlessness. Let me not act from a place of proving. Instead, let me carry what is sacred with reverence until you open the door, until you bring the moment, until you say, "Now." Give me peace in the not yet. Give me joy in the hidden work. Let me not measure my worth by how many people know you are doing in me. Let me not measure success by visibility. Let my soul be content with being known by you alone. Sometimes the loudest faith is quiet obedience. Sometimes the greatest strength is gentle restraint. And sometimes the truest trust is choosing to wait until you give the word to move. I want to live like that. I want to be that kind of vessel, not empty, not desperate, not leaking what was meant to be sealed, but full of your presence, steady in the silence, anchored in trust. Father, even as I feel things stirring inside callings, creativity, healing, change, teach me to carry them like holy fire, not for show, not for display, but for communion, for deep, unseen partnership with you. I do not want to be driven by the need to be seen. I want to be led by the desire to be faithful. Whether anyone applauds or understands, or even notices, let me be faithful. Let me be found trustworthy in the secret things. And when I feel the urge to explain myself, remind me that you are my defender. When I want to be understood, remind me that you already understand. When I feel alone in what I carry, remind me that I do not carry it alone. This morning, I choose protection over exposure. I choose peace over proving. I choose the secret place over the spotlight. Let this become my rhythm, living deeply with you before I ever try to live visibly for others. Let this become my foundation, rooted, steady, quietly blooming in the shelter of your love. You see what I carry. You see where I am growing. And you will bring it into the light when the light can hold it. Until then, I trust you. I remain in the quiet. I protect what is sacred. I walk in your timing, not mine. Father, in this sacred hush where I have learned to protect what is precious, I find myself reaching for wisdom, not the kind that shouts with certainty, but the kind that whispers with clarity. I do not want to just be quiet. I want to be discerning. I do not want to hide out of fear. I want to walk with intention, to move when you lead, to speak when you prompt, and to stay still when you say wait. My heart longs to be wise in the unseen places, to not simply avoid exposure, but to carry awareness of what you are doing, of what I am feeling, of where you are moving. I want to learn how to listen deeply, not just for answers, but for direction, for cues from heaven, for gentle nudges that say, "This is the way, walk in it." God, ask you to make me sensitive to your leading. In a world full of noise, teach me how to tune into the quiet frequency of your voice. I do not want to be pulled by emotion or reaction. I want to respond to you. I want to move with you. Sometimes I confuse movement with progress. I think doing more means growing. But you remind me that wisdom is not always in activity. Sometimes it is in restraint. Sometimes it is knowing when not to speak, when not to go, when not to respond. And that kind of discernment only comes from staying close to you. So I ask for discernment not just for big decisions, but for the small, hidden ones too. When to open up, when to remain silent, when to reach out, when to wait, when to step forward, when to step back. Let my life be a reflection of your wisdom, not just my desires. There is a way that seems right to me, sometimes paths that look promising, opportunities that seem too good to miss. But unless you are in it, I do not want it. Unless your spirit confirms it, I want to trust it. I have learned that not every open door is from you. Not every voice is wise. Not every yes is holy. Help me to discern what is true. Not just what is appealing, but what is aligned with you. Let my heart lean into truth more than into comfort. Let me recognize deception not by its darkness, but by its imitation of light. Father, I know you are not a God of confusion. You do not lead me with pressure or chaos. You guide with peace, with steady conviction, with that knowing in the soul that cannot be shaken, even when circumstances are uncertain. That is what I am asking you to strengthen in me, a clear, unshakable inner compass rooted in your presence. Sometimes I hesitate because I fear making a mistake. I overthink. I delay. I question myself endlessly. But I do not want to be paralyzed by fear of getting it wrong. I want to walk in confidence, not in my perfection, but in your presence. I want to trust that as I seek you, you will correct my steps if I stray. I do not need to know everything. I just need to know you are with me, and that is enough to move forward one step at a time. So teach me to listen, Lord, not only to your words, but to your silence, not only to your instructions, but to your pauses. Sometimes the delay is direction, sometimes the stillness is an answer. Help me not to overlook the ways you speak beyond language, through peace, through discomfort, through the closing of doors I thought I needed to walk through. Give me discernment in my relationships. Show me who is meant to walk closely and who I must bless from afar. Help me to recognize hearts that are safe, not just charming. Give me eyes to see past appearances and words to the substance beneath. Protect me from false counsel, from advice that sounds spiritual but leads me away from your truth. Let your word be my foundation, not just the opinions of others. Anchor me in what is eternal, so I am not swayed by what is temporary. And when I do not know what to do, when the path is foggy, when options pull at me from all sides, teach me to pause instead of panic, to come back to you, to seek not only guidance, but intimacy. Sometimes the answer I need is not direction, it is deeper communion. You promised that if anyone lacks wisdom, they can ask, and you will give generously. So I ask not with entitlement, but with hunger. Give me the kind of wisdom that does not just solve problems, but transforms perspective. The kind that makes me humble, teachable, steady. Help me become the kind of person who does not just know what to do, but knows how to walk with you through everything. Let discernment be woven into the rhythm of my daily life, into my habits, my reactions, my choices, my words. I want to hear your voice before I hear my own fears. I want to follow your lead before I follow convenience. I want to move with grace instead of impulse. Even now, in this moment, I ask you to search my heart. If there is anything I am pursuing that is not from you, make it clear. If there is a path I am resisting because of fear, give me courage. And if there is a place you are inviting me to trust you more, help me to say yes. You are the God who sees the end from the beginning, the one who already stands in the places I have yet to walk. So I choose to trust you, not just with outcomes, but with each small step. And if I make mistakes along the way, I trust that you will lovingly redirect me, that you will not shame me for stumbling, but teach me through every turn. I do not want to be driven by perfection. I want to be led by presence. Let discernment be the fruit of our nearness, not the pressure of performance. Let wisdom grow in me like a quiet stream, flowing from the time I spend with you. Let it sharpen my awareness and soften my spirit. Let it keep me steady in a world that pulls in every direction. I want to live tuned in, not to the noise of the world, but to the steady sound of your spirit. I want to become familiar with your voice, not just in crisis, but in the calm, not just in decisions, but in devotion, not just in urgency, but in everyday stillness. So I stay here with you, asking, listening, learning, waiting, and in this space, I believe you are shaping in me a heart that discerns, not because I know everything, but because I know the one who does. Father, as I continue to sit with you in this still place, where wisdom begins to take root through our quiet communion, I feel another longing rise from within me, the need to be protected, not just from visible harm or loud threats, but from the subtle things that slip in unnoticed, the quiet distractions, the slow compromises, the invisible erosion of what is sacred. Because even with discernment, even with the best intentions, I am still human, still vulnerable, still learning, and what you are doing inside me feels too precious to leave unguarded. The dreams you planted, the clarity you are growing, the stillness you have gifted me, it all feels fragile in the face of a world that demands exposure, speed, and performance. So I ask you, God, to build a hedge around what you have started. Not a wall that isolates me, but a covering that shields me. Surround my heart with your presence. Surround my mind with your peace. Surround my soul with your truth, so that what is sacred in me stays safe as it grows. There are voices all around, loud ones, clever ones, even well-meaning ones, and sometimes they pull me away from what you have whispered in the dark. Sometimes they challenge what I know you have said. Sometimes they plant seeds of doubt where you have already sown faith. And it is in those moments I realize how much I need your protection. Protect me from comparison, from looking at others and assuming they are farther, better, or more worthy. Protect me from the urge to imitate when you have called me to walk my own path. Guard me from the subtle pressure to keep up, to be seen, to prove myself in ways you never asked of me. Lord, shield me from discouragement, from those moments when progress feels invisible and your promises feel distant, from the lies that tell me I have missed my chance, that I am too late or not enough. Help me to hold tightly to what you said, even when my emotions try to rewrite the story. And God, I ask you to protect my joy, not the shallow happiness that depends on circumstances, but the deep, steady joy that comes from knowing I am yours. The joy that anchors me even when things are uncertain. The joy that keeps me singing even when the answers have not come. Protect the purity of my motives. Let me not begin in surrender and drift into striving. Let me not lose sight of why I came to you in the first place. Remind me, often, that this is about communion, not performance. About presence, not perfection. About knowing you, not achieving for you. I also ask you to protect me from spiritual fatigue. There are days when the waiting wears me down, when doing good feels like pouring into a cup with no bottom. On those days, renew me, fill me again, whisper truth when I grow numb, breathe life into me when I feel tired of hoping. Guard me from bitterness, Father, from the slow buildup of resentment when things do not go the way I imagined, when prayers take longer than I expected, when people disappoint me, when the road curves in ways I never planned. Keep my heart soft, keep it clean. Let nothing take root in me that poisons the work you are doing. Protect my boundaries to the spiritual, emotional, and physical ones. Show me where to say yes and when to say no. Help me to honor my limits without guilt. Teach me that protecting what is sacred sometimes means stepping away from what drains my soul. Let your word be my sword and my shield. Let your spirit be the filter through which every voice must pass. Let your presence be the place where I return again and again to remember what is true. And Father, I ask you to guard me from fear, from the fear of being misunderstood, left behind, or forgotten, from the fear of being vulnerable, from the fear of stepping into the unknown. Let perfect love cast out those fears, one by one. I know you never asked me to protect myself alone. You said you would be my refuge, my strong tower, my hiding place. So I run into that shelter, now not as someone trying to escape, but as someone choosing to stay aligned with what matters most. Because what you are growing in me is not just for now. It is for the long journey ahead, and I want to be faithful with it. I want to steward it well. I want to arrive at whatever door you one day open with a soul that is whole, not scattered, rooted, not reckless, covered, not exposed. There is so much I do not see, so much I do not understand, but I trust that you do. I trust that you go before me, stand beside me, and cover me from behind, that you protect not just my body, but my becoming, not just my plans, but my purpose. So I yield everything again. The dreams, the pace, the people, the possibilities. I give them back to you. I ask you to hold them, to shield them, to breathe over them until their time is right. and as they wait inside me, may nothing corrupt them. Let me walk through this day with a quiet awareness of your protection. Let me carry what is holy with reverence. Let me be wise in what I allow in, and tender with what I carry out. You are my covering, my defense, my place of peace. And under your wing, I choose to rest. I choose to rise. I choose to remain faithful to the quiet work you are doing in me, even when no one else sees. Keep my soul awake to what is holy. Keep my spirit alert to what is real. And let nothing sacred be stolen, not by distraction, not by fear, not by the pressure to be more than who you have asked me to be today. I belong to you. What is inside me belongs to you. And what you have started, you will protect until it is ready to be revealed. Father, even as I thank you for the ways you cover and protect what is sacred within me, I realize that not all danger comes from the outside. Sometimes, what threatens my peace the most is not what surrounds me, but what stirs inside. It is not always the voices out there that draw me away from you. It is the ones that echo from within, the quiet doubts, the insecurities, the fears that I have learned how to dress in silence. Today I bring those inner battles into the light, not to shame myself, but to stop hiding from them. I bring you the inner critic, the voice that tells me I am behind, that I am not doing enough, that I will never become what you have called me to be. I bring you the old wounds that whisper that I am still broken, still unworthy, still less than what grace declares. Lord, I ask you to gently uncover what I have buried beneath my routines and distractions, the parts of me that still carry stories I have not healed from, the parts of me that sabotage peace because they expect pain, the places where I have internalized lies and made them sound like truth. Help me to see clearly what is not from you. Help me to stop agreeing with thoughts that shrink me, limit me, accuse me. Show me how to recognize the voice of the enemy, even when it sounds like my own. Because sometimes the most dangerous thing I face is not outside opposition. It is the slow erosion of belief happening beneath the surface. God, I confess the moments I have made space for self-doubt to grow. I have allowed fear to feel familiar. I have given anxiety the microphone when you were offering me peace. I have rehearsed worst-case scenarios while neglecting your promises. And though I know you do not condemn me, I also know you invite me to live freer than this. You did not create me to war with myself every morning. You did not call me to carry the burden of proving my worth. You called me to abide, to rest, to trust that who you made me to be is already enough when I am walking with you. Help me to stop tearing down what you are trying to build. Help me to recognize when I am partnering with discouragement instead of faith, when I am feeding thoughts that destroy courage instead of nurturing hope. Let your truth speak louder than my fears, and your mercy rise higher than my self-judgment. I want to walk in agreement with heaven, not with the weight of old stories. I want to walk in step with what you see in me, not what shame tells me I lack. Let me not sabotage the healing you are trying to bring by clinging to wounds that once kept me safe. Sometimes I fear that if I let go of those voices, I won't know who I am without them. but you remind me that my identity is not in my patterns, my past, or my pain. It is in you. It has always been in you. Lord, teach me to be patient with my own process, to not demand instant healing, to not shame myself for still struggling. Teach me to speak to myself the way you speak to me, with compassion, with truth, with a love that does not waver even when I do. I ask you to bring peace to the inner storm, to quiet the voices that do not reflect your heart, to make room inside me for kindness, to grow kindness, not just for others, but for myself. Because I know that what happens inside me will eventually shape what flows out of me. Let there be alignment in my soul. Let there be harmony between what I say I believe and how I speak to myself. Let me stop pretending to be strong and allow myself to be held. Let me stop resisting rest and learn to receive it. I do not want to live guarded against my own emotions. I want to bring them to you, raw and unfiltered. I want to stop numbing them or running from them. I want to let you meet me there, in the vulnerability I keep covering. Father, I invite you into the inner rooms, the ones I have kept locked, the ones I have avoided, the ones I have judged unworthy of your presence. I trust that you will not enter with condemnation, but with gentleness, that you will not tear me down, but rebuild what was lost. I want to live whole, not just clean on the outside, but healed on the inside. I want to be a resting place for your peace, not a battleground of self-conflict. I want to know what it means to live free, not perfect, but free. And so I ask you to help me forgive myself for the times I believed less than what you spoke, for the ways I let fear choose for me, for the moments I settled for what was familiar instead of what was faithful. Help me also to silence the voice of perfectionism, the one that keeps telling me I have to earn love, that I have to prove my growth before I can receive grace. Remind me that grace is what grows me, that love is what transforms me. Let the sound of your voice become the loudest one within. Let it echo louder than fear, clearer than doubt, steadier than shame. Let it speak again and again until it becomes the rhythm of how I think, how I breathe, how I believe. 'Cause I know you never meant for me to fight alone. You are not watching from a distance. You are with me in this, speaking life where I have spoken defeat, calling me forward where I have held back. And so today, I pause to breathe again, to choose truth again, to say yes again to healing, to grace, to peace within. You are my anchor, even in the places inside me that feel uncertain. You are the one who holds it all together, even when I feel like I am unraveling. I may not see all the progress right away, but I trust that something is shifting, that the ground beneath my thoughts is becoming steadier, that the roots of truth are growing deeper, that the lies are losing their power because light is finally shining where darkness once lived. Thank you for not giving up on the unfinished parts of me. Thank you for being patient with the war inside. And thank you that even here, even now, you are not distant, you are near, speaking peace into the very core of who I am becoming. Lord, even as I breathe more freely in the stillness you have created within me, I can feel the weight of resistance rising from outside again. Like a wind that shifts direction without warning, There are moments when peace is challenged not by chaos from within this time, but by forces that press in from beyond. I feel them, subtle or loud opposition, misunderstanding, spiritual resistance, and though I know you are with me, I also know I must stand. I do not want to be naive about the reality of what surrounds me. There are things I cannot see but can sense. Moments when discouragement arrives, not from my own thoughts, but from something darker, something trying to pull me away from the confidence you have been building. Sometimes it is fear that disguises itself as logic. Sometimes it is pressure dressed up as opportunity. Other times, it is the slow drip of negativity trying to erode what you have spoken over my life. Father, I come to you today not in panic, but in position. I know who you are, and because of that, I know who I am. I may feel pressed, but I am not abandoned. I may feel surrounded, but I am never defenseless. For you are the shield around me, the God who covers, who surrounds, who declares that no weapon formed against me shall prosper. Even as I whisper these words, I feel their weight. No weapon formed will prosper, not because I am strong enough to fight, but because you are strong enough to cover. You are my defender. You are the one who sees the battle before it even reaches my door. And when I feel under attack through discouragement, criticism, delay, or spiritual fatigue, I remember that none of it takes you by surprise. I may not always see the battle lines clearly. The enemy is subtle, often working through moments that seem ordinary. A comment that cuts too deep, a missed opportunity that stings more than it should, a fear that creeps in when I thought I was doing fine. But even then, you remind me this is not just emotional, this is spiritual, and I am not fighting alone. God, I ask you to strengthen me today, not with a harsh resilience, but with holy authority, not with defiance that rises from pride, but with confidence that rises from truth. Let me speak your promises over myself, not because I need to convince you, because I need to silence every voice that contradicts what you have declared. You said I am chosen. You said I am covered. You said I am equipped for every good work you have prepared in advance. And if you said it, I choose to believe it even when my circumstances try to argue otherwise. Help me recognize when I am being attacked, not so I can fear, but so I can stand. Let me not be distracted by spiritual resistance disguised as mere coincidence. Let me not fight with the weapons of the world reaction, revenge, retreat, but instead, clothe me in your armor, truth for my mind, righteousness to protect my heart, peace to guide my steps, faith to shield me, salvation to anchor me, and the power of your word to speak life into what seems lost. When discouragement tries to weigh me down, lift my head. When fear tries to paralyze, remind me that you are near. When confusion clouds my direction, let your spirit bring clarity. Let no fiery arrow find its mark. Let no lie take root. Let no shadow override the light you have placed in me. There are days when I have felt the impact of weapons that were not supposed to succeed. Days when words pierced deeper than they should have. When betrayal left wounds I did not know I could carry. When silence from others felt like abandonment. But here I am still breathing, still praying, still believing, not because I am unbreakable, but because you held me together when I could have fallen apart. I do not want to walk afraid of opposition. I want to walk aware and awake bold, but not hardened, strong, but not closed, wise, but still tender, because I know that what threatens me is not more powerful than the one who dwells within me. Father, let me walk today with spiritual vision. Let me see beyond the surface. Let me not react to every arrow, but respond to every prompting of your Spirit. Let me carry peace into spaces that are tense. Let me carry love where there is hostility. Let me carry light where there is confusion. Let me carry the authority of one who knows they are backed by heaven. And when the attack feels relentless, when I grow tired from the constant pressing in of darkness, remind me to rest in you not as retreat, but as strategy, to worship when I feel weak, to speak truth when I feel cornered, to trust that even when I am not fighting, you are still winning. You have not brought me this far to leave me exposed. You are the same God who closed the mouths of lions, who split seas, who stood in fire, who shook prison doors open. That same power, that same presence, lives in me now. And so I will not shrink back. I will not give up. I will not surrender what you have given me just because resistance has shown up. If anything, resistance only confirms that something holy is being formed, that something eternal is at stake, that the light is growing stronger, that the enemy is nervous. Let every opposition serve only to drive me deeper into your presence. Let every delay press me closer to your voice. Let every hardship become soil for even greater dependence. Let me rise not in pride, but in promise, not to prove myself, but to stand in what you have spoken. I do not need to shout to be victorious. I do not need to strive to be secure. I only need to abide, to stay rooted, to remember whose I am and why I have been called. So today, no matter what comes, I choose to stand, not in fear, not in panic, but in peace, in confidence, in the unshakable truth that no weapon formed against me will succeed. You are my protection. You are my promise. And with you, I am not just surviving, I am overcoming. Lord, even as I declare that no weapon formed against me will succeed, I know the battle does not always look like fire or fury. Sometimes, it comes in the form of distraction, quiet and persuasive, disguised as good intentions, wrapped in the appearance of urgency. And that, too, I must be ready for. That, too, I must learn to recognize. Father, I feel it in the moments when I have taken my place, begun to build, started to walk in what you have called me to do, and then something comes. A voice, a circumstance, an interruption pulling my focus, tempting me to leave the wall you have positioned me on, asking me to come down, and it rarely looks dangerous at first. Often, it appears noble or necessary, but beneath the surface, it seeks to shift me away from your assignment. You have been showing me, Lord, that distraction is not always loud. It is often subtle. It does not try to destroy the vision, it just tries to delay it, dilute it, Divert my heart away from the steady rhythm you have established. And I know now that if the enemy cannot destroy, he will attempt to distract. So I ask you today for holy focus. Help me keep my eyes fixed. Help me guard the atmosphere of my soul. Help me protect the space where I meet with you so nothing steals the clarity you have given. God, let me not come down, not from pride, not from stubbornness, but from obedience. Let me stay where you have placed me. Let me remain in the work you have given me. However quiet, however hidden, however slow it may seem, even when it looks like nothing is happening, even when others call me to prove, to explain, to hurry, let me stay. I think of Nehemiah on that wall refusing to descend when the opposition came cloaked in false diplomacy. He did not argue. He did not defend. He simply said, I am doing a great work and I cannot come down. Let that become my resolve. Let that become my answer to every distraction that tries to pull me from purpose. Even the good things. Lord, if they are not your things, let me discern them. Let me know what to say yes to and what to release. Not everything urgent is important. Not every opportunity is a calling. And not every voice needs a reply. Teach me the wisdom of selective silence. Give me strength not only to resist what is evil, but to resist what is unnecessary. The conversations that drain me. The assignments that are not mine. The need to prove my worth through constant movement. Show me how to hold my peace. How to rest even while building. How to do the next faithful thing without being pulled to every open door. You know how easily I can be tempted to overextend, to add more, to rush ahead, to take on things just to feel useful or validated. But you are teaching me that obedience is not always doing more, it is doing what you have asked. No more, no less. Lord, I do not want to be busy for the sake of motion. I want to be anchored in purpose, in focus, in deep awareness of what is mine to carry. If I chase everything, I will miss the one thing that truly matters, your voice, your presence, your direction. And sometimes, distraction wears the face of conflict, a misunderstanding, a criticism, an invitation to explain myself to those who were never meant to understand. But you are reminding me, I do not need to come down from where you have placed me just to respond. I do not need to justify your process. In me, I do not need to defend every decision. I do not need to turn from the wall to fight battles that are not mine. You are my defender. You are my vindicator. You are the one who sees the whole story. So help me to stay focused when I feel pulled. Help me to pause before reacting. Help me to discern the trap behind the invitation. Help me to be more committed to obedience than to being understood. And when I feel alone on the wall, when I wonder if anyone sees the work, the effort, the heart behind it, remind me that you see. You have always seen. And that is enough. I am not building for applause. I am not showing up each day for praise. I am here because you placed me here. Because this space, however ordinary, is holy ground when you have called me to it. Let me value the assignment more than the attention. Let me stay faithful when no one notices. Let me keep building even when the progress is slow, even when the opposition is steady, even when my own thoughts whisper that it would be easier to step down. God, remind me again of why I began. Remind me that it was you who stirred the vision. It was you who whispered the direction. It was you who breathed the beginning. And if it started with you, then it must be sustained by you, not by my striving, not by my performance, but by daily surrender. If you have placed me on this wall, this work, this calling, this path, then I want to honor it, not just with excitement, but with endurance, not just with enthusiasm, but with resolve. Let this be the place where I meet you day after day, stone upon stone, prayer upon prayer, showing up not for recognition, but because you are worthy of consistency. Even when it feels like no progress is being made, help me remember that faithfulness always bears fruit in time. Even when others leave their posts, help me remain steady. Even when I am tempted to abandon what I have started, speak gently but firmly, and say, stay. You are not just the God of beginnings. You are the God who sustains, the God who finishes, the God who strengthens the weary builder when the bricks get heavy and the hands grow tired. And so, with every reason to be pulled away, I choose to remain, not because it is easy, but because it is right, because it is yours, because it matters more than I may ever see on this side of heaven. Let the wall rise one stone at a time. Let my soul stay aligned with your rhythm. Let my heart stay quiet, focused, grounded, and above all, let me not come down, not until you say the work is done. God, as I remain on the wall, choosing to stay, choosing to build with you brick by quiet brick, I begin to notice something subtle but holy. Not everything you grow in me needs to be seen to be real. Not everything you do needs to be validated by progress I can measure. Some of your greatest work is hidden. Some of your deepest shaping happens beneath the surface. Father, this is not a season of display, it is a season of deepening. And I do not want to miss what you are doing just because it does not look like I expected. I do not want to overlook the sacred because it is quiet. I do not want to dismiss the movement just because it is underground. There are roots forming now, deep, silent roots in places of my life I once called barren. I feel them quietly stretching downward, reaching for something stable beneath the noise. And even though there is nothing showy about this process, I trust that this is where true growth lives. Lord, teach me to honor what is hidden, to cherish the moments no one else sees, to believe that the time spent in silence with you is not wasted, but planted. I do not want to live addicted to outcomes or addicted to applause. I want to live faithful, planted, anchored. When I feel tempted to doubt, because I can yet see the harvest, remind me that you are not slow, you are intentional. Remind me that you never overlook the unseen labor of obedience. You never ignore the whispered prayers, the quiet choices, the ordinary faithfulness. God, I confess that sometimes I want to fast forward through the process. I want fruit without time. I want results without roots. But you know that what grows too quickly often collapses, and what grows too shallow cannot withstand the wind. So you lead me deeper instead of higher. And though it is not always what I would choose, I know it is what I need. Help me to see this hiddenness not as rejection, but as protection, not as punishment, but as preparation. You are building in me something that will last, and things that last must first be hidden. The seed does not demand to be seen. It simply abides in the soil, trusting that in the dark, in the quiet, you are doing what only you can. That is the kind of trust I want to live with, a trust that does not panic in the silence, does not push for proof, does not rush the rain, a trust that knows the unseen is where the miracle begins. Lord, when others seem to be blossoming in full view, and I feel left in the shadows, help me not to grow bitter. Help me not to question my place or envy their timing. Help me to bless what I see in others without diminishing what you are doing in me, because their season is not my season. Their soil is not my soil, and your process is personal. Let me remain in the field where you planted me, even if no one notices. Let me water what you have entrusted to me with quiet faith, with joy in the ordinary. Let me find delight in being known by you, even when I am hidden from the world. I know now that hiddenness is not the absence of purpose, it is the atmosphere where purpose is formed. It is the greenhouse of grace. It is the classroom of trust. And I want to be a good student of this season. Strip away the need to be seen, the hunger to be recognized, the restlessness to prove. Let those cravings lose their power as I taste the sweetness of intimacy with you in the unseen. Let me be satisfied in being rooted rather than celebrated. I am not here to perform. I am here to become. I am not striving to reach some visible marker of success. I am simply learning how to dwell, to abide, to stretch my soul deep into the soil of your truth and let it hold me. Father, I invite you to do what only you can do in the dark places, places I do not yet understand, places that feel unproductive. Breathe over the seed of faith that lies quietly beneath disappointment. Water the hope that is waiting patiently underneath layers of delay. Protect the dreams that are germinating beneath the weight of everyday life. You know what you planted. You know when it will bloom. And you are not in a hurry. So help me not to be either. Let me grow at the pace of grace. Let me rise in your timing, not mine. Let me trust that you are both the gardener and the keeper. I do not want to resent the silence. I want to rest in it. I do not want to despise the unseen. I want to celebrate it. I do not want to fear the quiet. I want to lean into it. Because I know that you are not absent here. You are especially near. This hidden place, though lonely at times, is sacred ground. It is where you sit with me, where you heal me, where you prepare me, not for performance, but for purpose, not to impress, but to endure, not to gain visibility, but to carry something holy. So I stay with you here, in the quiet work, in the slow work, in the buried work. I stay in the field, tending what only you and I know about. I wait, not passively, but with hope, with trust, with a heart that is learning how to be content with deep roots and unseen progress. One day the fruit will come. One day the growth will break through the surface. But even if no one sees it yet, even if I barely see it myself, I know you are at work, and that is enough for me to remain planted, hidden, but growing, silent, but alive, waiting, but never forgotten. Father, as I stay rooted in the hidden places where you have quietly planted purpose within me, I feel the weight of waiting settle around my heart, not as a burden, but as a presence. The stillness that once felt like isolation now begins to reveal its true shape. It is not absence. It is invitation. It is not delay for the sake of denial. It is the space where you remain with me, unseen but constant. There was a time when waiting felt like punishment, like something had gone wrong, or I had missed a step. But now, in the hush of this morning, I sense something deeper, something softer. You are not just the God I wait for. You are the God who waits with me. You sit beside me in the silence. You are not distant in this season. You are closer than ever, not rushing me, not pushing me forward, but simply staying steady, still, sure. And in that staying, you teach me to stay, too. Lord, help me to see the waiting not as a pause in purpose, but as part of it. This is not wasted time. This is sacred time. This is where endurance is formed, where hope becomes real, where trust stretches beyond convenience and becomes devotion. I used to think that waiting meant nothing was happening. But now I realize that waiting is where everything begins to take shape. Not the kind of shaping I can measure or explain, but the kind that forms me from the inside out. Quiet, invisible growth, soul-deep transformation. And while I wait, you are not idle. You are weaving things together, things I do not see, things I would not understand even if I could. You are aligning hearts, opening doors, preparing places, and more than that, you are preparing me. Sometimes I wonder why it takes so long, why prayers take root so slowly, why the answers do not rush in like I hoped they would. But then you remind me that speed is not the goal, strength is, depth is, and these things cannot be rushed. God, if you are willing to wait with me, then I want to learn how to wait with you. I want to learn how to live in the tension of patience and faith. I want to walk through this season with peace in my steps and calm in my spirit, not because everything is clear, but because I am certain that you are here. You never promised me that the road would be fast, but you did promise that you would never leave. You promised that you would be with me in every hour, in every question, in every breath of waiting. And that promise is enough. Even now, as I breathe slowly into this day, I can sense the comfort of your nearness, not in fireworks or answers, but in quiet strength, in the steady presence that meets me where I am and says, I am not in a hurry. I am not impatient with your process. I am not frustrated by your pace. I am here for all of it. Let that truth settle in me deeply, that you are not disappointed by my stillness. You are not anxious for me to move faster. You are not measuring me by milestones. You are walking with me through the middle, the long, in between that most people overlook. Father, I give you permission to slow me down, to remove the pressure to always be progressing in visible ways, to free me from the lie that says, I must have something to show in order to have value. Let me remember that who I am becoming in the waiting matters, just as much as where I am going. You are not just the God of fulfillment. You are the God of formation. And formation takes time. It takes silence. It takes stillness. It takes surrender. Help me release the timelines I have set for myself. Help me release the expectations I have absorbed from others. Help me release the frustration that tries to build when things take longer than I planned. Instead, help me lean into the truth that timing is not mine to control, it is yours to perfect. There is peace in letting go. There is rest in remembering that I do not have to force anything into being. What you have spoken will come in its time. What you have prepared will open when it is ready. And until then, I wait not with clenched fists, but with open hands, not with exhaustion, but with expectancy. God, I ask you to shape my posture in the waiting. Let it be one of worship, not weariness. Let it be filled with faith, not frustration. Let me learn to celebrate not only the harvest, but the stillness of the soil, the sweetness of the unseen work. I know that when I wait with you, the waiting is not hollow, it is holy. It is full of small moments that are building something bigger than I can see, full of quiet lessons that will become the wisdom I carry into the next season. And when the doubts creep, and when I begin to feel left behind, overlooked, or forgotten, gently remind me that you are not measuring my life by the pace of others. You are writing a story that is uniquely mine, and it will unfold exactly as it should. There is nothing passive about waiting with you. There is strength here. There is courage here. There is resilience that grows in the silent spaces where trust is tested and deepened. So let this be the season where I grow in grace, where I find joy in small things, where I stop chasing signs and start listening for your voice again. Let this be the season where I learn how to wait not in fear, not in frustration, but in full surrender to the rhythm of heaven. And even if the answers do not come today, even if nothing visible changes, I will still be here, still waking up to meet you, still whispering prayers into the quiet, still holding on to the truth that you are with me, that you are good, and that waiting with you is never time lost. It is always time gained. It is always love growing deeper. It is always you, Lord. As I continue to wait with you, learning to embrace the stillness, I begin to feel a gentle shift from simply being held to being invited deeper. It is not just a waiting for something to bloom, it is a calling to tend to what lies beneath. I sense you pointing my heart toward the roots, the hidden things beneath the surface of my everyday life that quietly sustain everything I hope to become. Father, you are not only the God who waits with me, but the God who works with me. And this morning, I feel you drawing me to partner with you in this soil I am standing on, not to strive or control, but to tend, to nurture, to be faithful in the quiet places where transformation begins. The roots do not grow by accident. They respond to care, And I know now that you have given me the sacred task of tending the garden of my soul. It is not glamorous. It is not loud. But it is where the real work is. It is where character is built, where trust deepens, where the foundation for everything ahead is silently laid. God, show me how to tend to these roots. Teach me how to water what matters, how to nourish what is lasting, how to prune away what no longer serves the life you are growing in me. Help me to see the value in unseen faithfulness, in doing the work no one applauds, in showing up to the secret place, not for results, but for relationship. Let me be diligent in my devotion. Let me not neglect the habits of grace just because they do not produce instant fruit. Remind me that opening my heart to you each morning, that choosing honesty over hiding, that returning again and again to your voice, these things are not small. They are sacred. They are roots. Sometimes I want change to come quickly. I want breakthrough to be sudden. But you are teaching me that sustained growth is slow, and that strength is formed in steady repetition. So I ask for the endurance to keep tending the soil, even when I do not see what it is doing yet. Father, help me to be honest with myself in this process. Reveal the places where weeds have taken root, those quiet compromises, those unchallenged lies, those habits that slowly pull me away from peace. I do not want to ignore them. I want to face them with courage, with grace, with you by my side. Pull up what does not belong. Loosen what has grown tangled. Make space for the new by helping me release the old. Let nothing stay hidden that is hindering growth. Let nothing cling to me that competes with your voice. I want a life that is rooted in truth, not just the truth I say with my mouth, but the truth I live when no one is watching, truth that flows from the deep, from the parts of me that have been reshaped in stillness, in surrender, in the slow faithfulness of time spent with you. God, help me guard what enters the soil of my heart. Let me be careful with the words I allow to take root. Let me be watchful over the thoughts I entertain. Let me notice what feeds me and what slowly empties me. I want to be intentional about what I plant in the spaces you have entrusted to me. Teach me to live below the surface, not to hide, but to be grounded, to not chase after what is loud and temporary, but to cultivate what is lasting and true. Let my depth grow deeper than my desire for display. Let my intimacy with you grow thicker than my longing to be noticed. The roots are where the strength leaves. And if I want to stand when the winds come, if I want to bear fruit in season, then I must pay attention to what lies beneath. I must take care of the inner life, the quiet life, the part of me that no one else sees but you. Lord, remind me that tending to these roots is not separate from my calling. It is the beginning of it. It is the foundation. It is the daily yes that prepares me to carry more. Let me never outgrow this part. Let me never believe I have graduated from the need to be grounded. Let my roots grow deep in your word, in prayer, in truth, in humility, in quiet trust. Let my hidden life be rich with your presence. Let the parts of me that no one applauds be the very parts that please you most. If today looks like tending and not harvesting, let me still call it holy. If today is about consistency and not results, let me still show up with joy. If today is spent beneath the surface, unseen by others. Let me still live like you are watching, like you are smiling, like you are near. You are not just shaping what I do. You are shaping who I am. And that shaping happens slowly, layer by layer, moment by moment. Through every decision to choose stillness over striving, depth over distraction, presence over performance. So here I am again, Lord, not in a rush, not demanding to be finished, just willing to stay with you in the soil, willing to dig a little deeper, willing to tend what matters most, willing to become before I try to build. I trust that as I remain in this hidden work, as I stay faithful in the quiet, you are doing more than I can see. You are growing something strong in me something that one tea shake in the storm, something that one tea collapse under pressure, something that will bear fruit that lasts. Let this be the season of deep roots. Let this be the chapter of sacred unseen work. Let this be where my soul learns again how to be nourished by grace, how to be held by truth, and how to be grown by love that never leaves. I choose to remain. I choose to tend. I choose to trust that you are here in the depth, working in the stillness, faithful in every inch beneath the surface. Father, as I keep tending the unseen roots with you, with hands that are learning patience and a heart that is learning stillness, I find myself coming face to face with another part of this journey: closed doors. Not all opportunities open. Not every prayer gets a quick yes. Sometimes, the path I hoped for is blocked. Sometimes, what I thought would welcome me ends up resisting me. And though I trust you, there are moments when it stings. Moments when I stand before a door I believed would lead to breakthrough, only to watch it remain shut. I knock. I wait. I pray, and silence meets me. The longer the silence lingers, the easier it becomes for questions to surface. Did I hear you wrong? Did I miss the timing? Did I mess up something I can fix? God, I bring all those questions to you now, not to accuse, not to demand answers, but to be honest, because you are not afraid of my wonderings. You are not distant from my ache. You see me standing in front of what feels like rejection, and instead of turning away, you step closer. You hold me steady while I try to understand what you are doing. Help me to remember, Lord, that a closed door is not always a closed future. That sometimes your no is not a denial, but a detour. Sometimes it is not the end of the story, but the protection of the story. You see what I cannot. You know what I do not yet understand. And if you have allowed this door to remain closed, then I trust that something behind it is not right for now, or maybe not right for me at all. Teach me not to push against what you have withheld. Teach me how to lean into the pause without frustration. Let me not keep pounding on doors that grace has already stepped away from. Let me be willing to release what I thought I needed, so I can receive what you are truly offering. Father, when a door stays closed, it is easy to feel forgotten. But you have never forgotten me. You have never misplaced my name or misread my timeline. You are not waiting to see if I will prove myself worthy. You already called me worthy in your love, and you are not testing me with silence. You are growing me in trust. Sometimes you close a door because what waits behind it would take more than it gives. Sometimes you withhold what I ask for because you're guarding what is still being formed in me. Sometimes you say not yet, so that what is meant to bless me will not crush me. And in those moments, your no is grace. I do not always see it that way at first, but when I look back, I remember the doors you kept shut and how they saved me, how they rerouted me, how they led me to something deeper, truer, more aligned with who you were shaping me to be. So even though this one hurts, I choose to believe you are still doing the same now. Let me not treat this closed door as a failure. Let me not turn inward with shame or spiral into despair. Let me sit with you here, in front of it, and listen not for permission to break it open, but for peace to walk away if you are not in it. God, I do not want to chase things that look good but are not from you. I do not want to waste my energy trying to open what you have gently shut. I want to be so aligned with you that I no longer measure progress by doors that swing wide, but by peace that stays close. When the way is blocked, let me look for the light elsewhere. When the plan shifts, let me lean deeper into presence instead of panic. When what I hoped for does not come, let me not harden in disappointment, but soften into trust. You are not the God of locked places. You are the God who opens and shuts with purpose. And if you have closed this door, then you are opening something else, even if I can't see it yet. Maybe it is not a door in front of me, but a door inside me that you are unlocking. A door to greater faith, a door to patience, a door to joy that does not depend on outcome. So help me embrace this moment not as defeat, but as divine redirection, not as loss, but as leading, not as confusion, but as calling me deeper. Remind me that you are not just leading me to places. You are leading me to become someone, and every no shapes me just as much as every yes. Let this closed door become a quiet place of worship. Let it be an altar where I lay down control, where I release my timeline, where I offer you the dreams that have not come to pass and say, even this belongs to you. And while I wait for clarity, while I stand in front of what one T open, while I wrestle with the H of what I do not yet understand, fill me with the assurance that you are not finished. You are still writing, still moving, still unfolding what is better than anything I could have forced open. I want to walk through only what you open, Lord. I want to go only where your presence goes. I want to live from the quiet trust that the doors you close are just as holy as the ones you open. Let this be a day of releasing what is locked. Let it be a day of peace with what has not come. Let it be a day of listening again, not to the noise of disappointment, but to the steady voice of your love reminding me that you are still here. Still good, and still working all things together for good, yes, even the closed doors. Father, as I stand before doors that remain closed and begin to see them not as rejection, but as redirection, my heart is slowly awakening to something I had not expected to find here: purpose, in the very places that feel paused, in the long stretches of silence, in the seasons without certainty. You are doing something more than I can see, and it is not just preparation, it is anointing. You are not only keeping me while I wait, you are marking me. You are setting me apart, quietly, without crowds, without ceremony. While I have been wondering when things will change around me, you have been working to transform something within me. Lord, I do not want to miss this. I do not want to walk through the waiting so focused on what is ahead that I fail to see what you are doing now. Because in this very space between the promise and the fulfillment, you are shaping a deeper identity in me, one that does not depend on arrival, achievement, or applause. You are teaching me that I am not anointed when I finally reach a platform or complete a calling. I am anointed now in the stillness, in the ordinary, in the unseen daily choices that no one else may notice, but you do. You see the yes in my spirit when everything feels slow. You see the surrender when my hands are empty. You see the trust when the timeline stretches longer than I planned. God, help me to honor the oil of this season, the quiet covering you are pouring over me while I wait. Help me not to resent the process that is making me stronger, wiser, more grounded in you, because without this oil, this slow, sacred work of your spirit, my calling would crush me. My gifts would outpace my character. My influence would outgrow my intimacy. And you love me too much to let that happen. So you bring me here to this pause, not as punishment, but as preservation. You hold me here, not to keep me from more, but to prepare me for the weight of what is coming. Sometimes I wonder what the delay means, but you remind me that delay is not denial. Delay is where you dwell with me. Delay is where the anointing becomes real. And I begin to realize that the waiting is not just about what I will walk into, it is about who I am becoming while I remain. Lord, let me carry this oil with reverence. Let me not despise the weight of invisible obedience. Let me not grow weary in the repetition of showing up again and again, even when I see no result. Every quiet act of faithfulness is preparing me. Every unseen choice to trust is deepening the oil you are pouring over my life. David was anointed long before he wore the crown, and yet it was in the fields, in the shadows, in the long spaces between the promise and the palace, that you taught him how to lead. It was there you gave him songs, battles, humility. And I imagine that though he was chosen in a moment, it was the waiting that made him ready. Let me not wish away the very process that is producing readiness in me. Let me stay soft under your hand. Let me be faithful with the sheep in the field before I ever seek to lead in the spotlight. Let me treasure the hidden years not as a delay, but as a gift. And when I grow restless, when I feel the ache of wanting to move, to step forward, to prove that I am ready, remind me that the anointing does not need to be rushed. It will not fade. It will not be lost. What you have placed on my life cannot be stolen by slowness. It can only be deepened by surrender. Father, help me see myself the way you see me in this moment, not incomplete, not lacking, but in process, not waiting to be useful, but already being used in ways I do not even realize. You waste nothing, not the hours spent in prayer, not the days that feel unnoticed, not the long stretches where I have no answer, but still show up with trust. You are using it all. You are shaping me with every unseen moment of obedience. And in doing so, you are covering me with something eternal. Something I will carry not just into the next season, but through every season that follows. Let me be faithful with the now. Let me treat this season not as a hallway to rush through, but as holy ground. Let me meet you here. Let me listen more closely, love more deeply, live more intentionally, even while I wait. God, when others are moving faster, when opportunities seem to pass by, when I am tempted to compare, let your voice rise louder than all the noise. Tell me again that I have not been forgotten. Tell me that my pace is not my worth. Tell me that being anointed is not about being noticed, but about being known by you. I do not need to be seen by the world to be known by you. I do not need to rush to be relevant. I only need to remain in you, to trust that what you have poured out over my life is not temporary, not fragile, not dependent on human timelines. It is steady. It is sovereign. It is sacred. So I breathe here, in this in-between. I lift my eyes not to doors, but to you. Not to what is next, but to what is already happening beneath the surface. And I thank you, not just for what is coming, but for what already is, because you are with me, you are for me, and you are anointing me not for a title or a moment, but for a life lived deeply with you, rooted in trust, strengthened in surrender, covered in a grace that cannot be undone. This is holy. This is enough. This is where the oil flows, and I receive it not someday, but now, in the waiting, in the unseen, in the quiet place where you and I still walk together, breath by breath, step by step, heart to heart. Lord, as I continue to walk with you through this quiet space, where anointing is being poured without applause, I begin to recognize that the most powerful oil does not come from grand moments. It comes from secret obedience, from the small, hidden yes that no one sees, from the decisions that echo only in heaven, from the quiet act of faithfulness done not for attention, but out of devotion to you alone. Father, this morning I did not come to ask for more. I come to honor what already is. I come to honor the hidden life you have called me to live. I come to say yes again to the unseen tasks, the uncelebrated faith, the unnoticed worship that still rises like incense to your throne. You have been teaching me that true obedience is not about the outcome. It is about the offering. It is not about whether I am rewarded or recognized. It is about whether I am willing to surrender without knowing who will notice or what will result. And you see it all, every unseen gesture, every private surrender, every choice to forgive in silence, every sacrifice made without announcement, every time I chose to stay when leaving would have been easier, every time I humbled myself when pride wanted the last word. These are the places where heaven leans close. These are the places where oil is formed. Help me to never lose sight of the beauty in doing what you ask, simply because you asked, even when it is hard, even when no one affirms it, even when the fruit is slow to grow. Let the posture of my heart be fixed on you, not on outcomes, not on metrics, but on your quiet pleasure. Lord, I confess that there have been times when I have wanted my obedience to be acknowledged. Times I have hoped someone would notice the cost, but you have gently reminded me that the reward for obedience is not always in what it brings to me, it is in what it builds in me. Secret obedience is not small to you. It is sacred. It is where character is carved. It is where faith becomes real. It is where I stop serving for results and start serving from love. So I surrender again, in this moment, to the call of secret obedience. Whether it is to be still when I want to speak, to stay when I want to run, to give when I feel unseen, to trust when I feel uncertain. These are the places you meet me most deeply. Father, I ask you to cleanse my motives. Let my yes be pure. Let my surrender be clean, not driven by fear, not pressured by guilt, but born from the overflow of knowing you. Let my obedience come not from striving, but from intimacy, not from obligation, but from love. Let this be the season where I fall in love again with simple faithfulness, where I stop measuring value by visibility, where I begin to find more joy in doing what you say than in receiving what I thought I needed. You are the one who sees in secret, and what you see, you reward not always with position or recognition, but with peace, with presence, with a deeper awareness of who you are and who I am in you. There is something holy about being willing to follow, even when no one else understands. Something sacred about waking up every morning and saying, "Yes, Lord." Again, I will go, I will stay, I will serve, I will believe. Not because I see the full picture, but because I trust the one who does. And in that trust, the oil keeps flowing. Quietly, steadily, washing over the parts of me that still long for proof, still crave assurance. Your oil softens the hard places in me, strengthens the tired places, heals the wounded places. Obedience in secret is not wasted. It is where I am most fully known by you. It is where the deeper wells of faith are dug. It is where the foundation for everything public is privately secured. God, make me more sensitive to your voice in the everyday moments. Remind me that obedience does not always come with fanfare. Sometimes it comes with whispers. Sometimes it looks like closing my mouth when I want to defend myself. Sometimes it looks like showing up again when I feel discouraged. Sometimes it is as small as choosing integrity when compromise would be easier. Let me not despise the day of small decisions, because small things done with great love build legacies. Small choices build trust. Small obediences create space for miracles. If all I do today is follow you in the secret things, let it be enough. If all I offer is my yes in a quiet room, let it be holy. If all I build is one brick at a time, hidden from view, let me build with joy. Because you see, you know, and what is done in secret will never be forgotten by you. Father, do not let me lose sight of why I started. Bring me back to the beauty of simple obedience. Back to the reason I said yes in the first place, not for reward, not for recognition, but for love. For you, let this oil of secret obedience mark every step I take today. Let it shape my words, my reactions, my decisions. Let it be the fragrance I carry, not loud, but lasting, not flashy, but pure. Let it linger in every room I walk into, not because I sought to be noticed, but because I walked with you there. And when the temptation to grow weary arises, remind me that you are not counting results, you are watching for faithfulness. When the desire to be seen creeps in, remind me that being hidden in you is the safest place to grow. I want to live from that place, a life rooted in quiet surrender, a heart that delights in unseen obedience, a spirit that stays steady when no one is watching. Because you are always watching, and in your gaze, I lack nothing. In your presence, I have all I need to keep walking in the way of faithfulness, one secret yes at a time. God, when the road ahead is no longer clear, when the signs I used to trust seem to vanish into the fog of uncertainty, I turn to you not for instant answers, but for a steady hand, for you are the same yesterday, today, and forever. And even when the path disappears beneath my feet, you remain the path itself, coming from the stillness of obedience in the unseen. I find myself now at the edge of mystery, where what comes next is wrapped in silence, and the only compass I have is trust, not trust in my senses, not trust in outcomes, but trust in who you are, that you are good, that you are near, that you are not only in the destination, but also in the steps I cannot yet see. Father, help me walk when I can't predict. Help me follow when I can't explain. There is a kind of faith you birth in these hidden seasons, faith that no longer demands signs to believe, but simply believes because your voice has spoken once. And that is enough. Let me find beauty in the silence between revelations. Let me treasure the waiting as deeply as the breakthrough. Let me be still when all I want is movement. Because even in the hush of heaven, you are working. Even when nothing around me shifts, something inside me deepens. You know how easily I crave clarity, how quickly I reach for plans, control, definitions. But clarity is not my comfort, you are. Direction is not my strength, your spirit is. So I lay down my need to know, and I pick up the peace of being known by you. In the hiddenness of this path, I start to hear things I missed before. I hear the whisper of your presence in the pause. I hear the rhythm of your heartbeat in the stillness. I hear the invitation to trust again, not because I understand, but because I remember. Remembering what you have done in the past anchors me in the present. You were faithful then. You are faithful now. And you will be faithful still. Even if I walk forward with trembling steps, even if I feel blind to what is next. Because faith is not about walking without fear, it is about walking despite it. So I step forward, one breath at a time. Not with certainty, but with surrender. Not with answers, but with assurance that you go before me, and you walk beside me. When the map disappears, let me live by the memory of your miracles. When I lose my way, remind me that I am not lost to you. When my faith feels small, teach me that mustard seeds move mountains. And when doubt tries to shout louder than hope, help me remember that your truth is not shaken by my questions. Lord, this quiet space is not a punishment. It is preparation. You are not withholding direction. You are deepening dependence. You are not hiding to confuse me. You are drawing me closer. Where vision is not of the eyes, but of the heart. And so I stop striving to find the path and start seeking the one who is the path. I do not need to understand the journey to stay faithful on it. I do not need a spotlight on the road when your hand holds mine in the dark. Let my spirit be trained in trust. Let my soul lean into your voice. even when it comes in whispers. Let me embrace the unknown not with fear, but with holy curiosity. What are you building in me here? What roots are being grown in this soil of silence? Every time I have faced the fog, you have led me through it, not always with a map, but always with mercy, not always with clear signs, but always with unwavering love. So I will not resent the quiet places anymore. I will revere them, for it is here that I learn the sound of your still small voice. It is here that my character is shaped in the absence of clarity. It is here that worship is no longer a response to results, but a choice born of devotion. Teach me to sing even when the melody feels uncertain. Teach me to rest even when the journey feels delayed. Teach me to obey without conditions, to love without limits, to serve without needing applause. Father, you never promised me the whole picture, but you promised me your presence. And that is enough for today. If you lead me only step by step, then give me the grace to take only one. If you light just enough for the next choice, then let me walk it with boldness. Let peace be my pace. Let worship be my witness. Let trust be the lens through which I see everything else. Not every step needs to be visible for it to be sacred. Not every answer needs to be known for my heart to be secure. In this place of uncertainty, I find a deeper knowing not of facts, but of you, not of control, but of surrender. And in surrender, I find safety, because I am not the one who has to hold it all together. You are. I am not the one who must carry the weight of what I cannot see. You are already there in the tomorrow I fear, in the answer I await, in the breakthrough that still feels far off. You are already preparing the ground I will walk on. You are already making crooked paths straight. You are already softening hearts I have not met. You are already orchestrating details I did not know needed arranging. So I release the timeline. I release the pressure. I release the fear. And I return to the simplicity of faith that does not need all the pieces. Just the peace of knowing you hold them all. Let that be the oil I carry today. Oil of trust, oil of surrender, oil of worship in the mystery, oil of joy not tied to clarity, but to communion. And when my soul longs for direction, let me find it not in maps, but in your nearness. Let me find courage in the quiet, hope in the hidden, and peace in the pause. For you are not a God of confusion, but of perfect peace. And where you are, I can walk even in the fog with confidence that I am never truly lost. Father, in the hush that follows surrender, when my heart no longer strains to predict but simply leans into you, I begin to understand that trust is not a moment, it is a rhythm, not an act I perform once, but a way of breathing, a constant return to you as my first thought and final rest. The quiet from before still lingers like a blanket over my spirit, and in that stillness, I feel the pulse of something deeper rising, not urgency, not striving, but assurance that you are here, and that is enough. I no longer chase signs or strain for certainty, because your presence whispers louder than any answer. I used to believe trust was about closing my eyes and hoping things would work out. But now I see it is about keeping my eyes wide open and recognizing that even in the tension, you are weaving something sacred. Even when I hesitate, you hold steady. Even when I stall, You move in perfect time. Lord, you are not asking me to figure it out. You are inviting me to fall into the mystery without fear, to unclench my hands and let go of the false comfort of control, to release my white-knuckled grip on plans I thought were wise and instead step into the holy flow of your timing, your wisdom, your better ways. I confess, sometimes think I trust until you ask me to wait, or to walk without knowing, or to forgive when it still hurts, or to give when I feel empty. But trust does not grow in places where I am certain. It matures in places where I choose you even when I do not understand you, where I hold on to you even when I can trace what you are doing. Let trust shape my mornings before decisions have a chance to confuse me. Let it shape my tone before conversations begin. Let it be the unseen thread through my choices, the quiet guard over my emotions, the anchor beneath my questions. Not loud, not forceful, but steady like breath, like heartbeat, like the sky that remains whether clouds come or go. You are teaching me to trust even the delays, to trust the detours, to trust the doors that close, to trust the pruning. You are showing me that faith is not proven by how fast I move, but by how well I remain rooted, patient, responsive to your nudge rather than the world's noise. When anxiety rushes in like a flood, let trust rise as a dam that holds. When fear whispers its familiar lies, let trust be the truth I speak over it. When weariness begs me to take shortcuts, let trust remind me that integrity is always worth the cost. When comparison creeps in, let trust silence it with the knowledge that my story is sacred, and you are not rushing me to match someone else's. God, teach me to breathe trust when the day runs long and answers do not come. Let it be my song in the mundane, my confidence in the chaos, my stillness in the swirl. Let me look at obstacles not as proof of your absence, but as the backdrop for your strength. Let me move without panic, lead without pride, and rest without guilt. I do not need a perfect day to have a peaceful heart. I do not need flawless conditions to reflect your light. I just need to remember that trust is not about waiting for the storm to pass. It is about dancing in the rain, knowing you are my shelter. It is about speaking kindness when I feel unheard. It is about doing what is right when no one applauds. It is about planting seeds when the harvest still feels far. Let me find you in the small things today, in the pause before I speak, in the patience to listen fully, in the courage to say no, in the humility to say yes, in the discernment to walk away, in the strength to stay when you call me to remain. Trust makes space for peace, and peace makes room for joy. So let my joy not be a response to results, but a byproduct of resting in you. Let it rise from the ground of surrender, watered by prayer, fed by the sunlight of your truth. Even if the world shifts, let trust be my still place. Even if plans fall apart, let trust be my path back to you. When I am misunderstood, I choose trust. When progress feels invisible, I choose trust. When the answer is not yet, I choose trust. When the silence stretches longer than I expected, I choose trust. Because choosing trust is choosing you, again and again, over what I see, over what I feel, over what others say. I do not want to just speak of trust, I want to live it. I want my reactions to be shaped by it, my thoughts to be guided by it, my plans to submit to it, my prayers to reflect it, so that even if today holds surprises, my soul will not be shaken. Even if today demands more than I planned for, I will draw from the well that never runs dry your faithfulness. Lord, help me treat trust not as a lesson to master, but a relationship to nurture. Help me respond to tension with grace instead of grasping, to change with faith instead of fear, to challenge with wisdom instead of wrath. And when things do not look the way I imagined, let trust be the bridge between my disappointment and your deeper purpose. There is a quiet joy in knowing you have never failed me, and you never will, that you are not bound by time, nor limited by my logic, that you are writing stories bigger than I know, and the pauses are part of the poetry. So I won't rush ahead, I won't demand clarity. I will walk slowly enough to hear you and boldly enough to follow. Let that be my prayer in motion. Let that be my offering today. Not perfection, not performance, but presence. Fully here, fully yours, trusting not just for outcomes, but in the process, trusting not just for provision, but for purpose, trusting not just for answers, but for intimacy. I do not need to predict what is coming when I trust the one who already stands at the end of it. I do not need to control outcomes when I am held by the one who works all things for good. So I surrender today not with fear but with open hands, and knowing you will fill them with what I need when I need it. And if I forget halfway through the day, if I slip back into control or worry or doubt, draw me back again, whisper truth over my trembling. Pull me close and teach me once more how to breathe in rhythm with trust, how to live without striving, how to rest while walking, how to grow without forcing, how to believe without seeing. And I will begin again, not because I failed, but because you never stop inviting me back into the safety of trust. Lord, if trust is the melody that guides my soul through uncertainty, then let my actions be the lyrics that give it voice. Let my life speak louder than my words. Let the quiet offerings of my day echo with meaning far beyond what is seen. Because after resting in the stillness of your presence and surrendering the grip of my own understanding, I now long to reflect what has been transformed within, not by grand gestures or loud proclamations, but by the gentleness of obedience and the integrity of love carried in the ordinary. You have been whispering into the silence of my mornings that trust is not only felt, it is lived. It shapes how I show up, how I carry myself in rooms that feel cold, how I respond when my heart feels small. And so today, I ask for the grace to live out what you have been building inside me. Not perfectly, not with pressure, but with honesty, with intention, with the kind of beauty that does not need to be noticed to be real. Father, let the way I listen become an extension of prayer. Let my silence be a sacred space for others to be heard. Let my words be few, but full of weight. Let them heal, not harm. Let them carry warmth when someone's soul has grown cold. Let them reflect the patience I receive from you every time I falter and find you waiting with open arms. Help me to carry peace into tense conversations, to bring calm without needing control, to choose restraint when my emotions beg to be unleashed. Let compassion rise above my opinions. Let dignity clothe every interaction. Even when others are careless, teach me how to be firm without being harsh, honest without being cruel, brave without being loud. And when I am unsure of what to say, help me remember that presence often says more than explanation ever could. I want to be a place where people feel safe to be human, where imperfection does not earn rejection, where grace flows freely and judgment does not set the tone. Let my life be a testimony to what happens when a soul yields to you daily, not just on the mountaintops, but in the valleys, in the waiting rooms, in the kitchen, in the workplace, in traffic, in the eyes of strangers. Every space becomes holy when I carry you there. God, do not let me compartmentalize holiness into moments that look spiritual. Let the sacred bleed into the secular until there is no divide. Let me clean with care, speak with awareness, walk with mindfulness. Let me carry love into forgotten places and dignity into unnoticed tasks, because nothing done with you is ever wasted. No moment surrendered to you is ever empty. Let humility walk ahead of me and gratitude follow close behind. Let generosity be my reflex, not a rare decision. Let kindness surprise those who expect indifference. Let joy bubble up in unexpected moments, like laughter that escapes in a quiet room, or a smile that breaks through exhaustion. Remind me that to be light does not require being perfect. Just willing. Just available. Just aware. Help me forgive more quickly today, not because the hurt was small, but because I know freedom is sweeter than revenge. Let me release the need to explain myself, and instead live in a way that makes explanations unnecessary. Let my peace be evidence of your presence, not my circumstances. Let my hope be unreasonable in the best way, anchored not in results but in who you are. Teach me to pause not just in prayer, but in practice. Before I react, help me respond. Before I speak, help me listen. Before I assume, help me ask. Before I rush, help me see. Let awareness open the door to empathy, and empathy become the soil where love takes root. Slow me down, not to delay purpose, but to deepen it, because rushed moments rarely leave room for revelation. Lord, may my hands become tools of comfort, not just productivity. May my eyes see the needs others overlook. May my feet walk into places that need peace, not attention. And when no one notices the effort, when there is no applause or affirmation, remind me that you see, that you smile over small faithfulness, that you are glorified in every cup of water given, every burden shared, every moment I choose love over ease. Help me to embrace the unseen moments, to serve when it feels unnoticed, to bless when it feels unreciprocated, because every seed planted in love bears fruit in time, not always in ways I expect, but always in ways you design. Let me stop measuring worth by visible results. Let my reward be intimacy with you, not influence with people. Today, let my integrity speak when my name is not mentioned. Let my consistency be the legacy I leave behind. Let my faithfulness outlast the trends, and my compassion stretch beyond convenience. Let me be the same person behind doors as I am in public. Let me be one who gives credit, not seeks it, who builds others, not platforms, who carries your heart, not just your name. And when the noise of the day grows loud, when expectations stack higher than my energy, let me return to the space of prayer, not as escape, but as realignment, not to hide, but to breathe again. Let prayer be the breath I return to when the air grows thin. Let it be the river I stand in when dust settles on my soul. Let it be the warmth I gather when the cold of the world tries to seep in. Father, I am not asking for a day without challenge. I am asking for a heart that responds to challenge with grace. I am not asking for everything to go as planned. I am asking for the resilience to bless the detours. I am not asking for constant affirmation. I am asking to be so rooted in you that I do not need it to feel valuable. Make me content. Not because I have settled, but because I have surrendered. Because I have found treasure in the place others overlook, walking humbly with my God. So let this day unfold as it must. Let it rise and fall with your rhythm. Let the interruptions become invitations. Let the struggles reveal strength I did not know I had. And through it all, let my life speak louder than my words. Let it be a reflection of what you have whispered in the quiet. Let it be a song of trust set to the music of obedience. Let it be a letter that reads, God has been here, and it shows. God, as I walk forward from the space where my life becomes the echo of your heart, I recognize how fragile peace can feel in a world that offers so many reasons to guard myself. I do not want to be a person who only reflects peace when circumstances are soft or silence is easy. I want to carry peace even when the world does not offer it. I want to be rooted in something deeper than conditions. I want to reflect the kind of calm that does not depend on calm surroundings. The kind of assurance that refuses to be shaken when storms form suddenly and without warning. Father, I know true peace is not passive. It does not just happen. It is chosen. It is contended for in the moments when frustration wants to lead and fear wants to speak. I need you to show me how to become an instrument of your peace, not just someone who longs for it, but someone who brings it with them into every room, every conversation, every conflict. Not because I have mastered stillness, but because I have handed my chaos to you. Let the posture of my heart today be peace. Let my shoulders not carry tension born of fear. Let my thoughts not spiral into places you never called them. Let my words be gentle, not because I am weak, but because I have learned the strength of quiet responses. Let me pause more often than I speak. Let me seek to understand more than I seek to be heard. And when I do speak, let my voice sound like kindness wrapped in clarity, like wisdom without pride, like truth without sharp edges. Lord, teach me how to carry peace not only in holy places, but in broken ones, in traffic jams and tense meetings, in disappointments and delayed dreams, in misunderstandings and unmet expectations. Let my eyes remain soft when I want to look away. Let my tone remain steady when I want to react. Let my spirit remain open when everything in me wants to shut down. You are the God who walks on waves, Help me to remember that peace is not the absence of waves, is the presence of you on top of them. When others around me are frantic, let me be still without being dismissive. When tempers rise, let me lower my pride. When gossip swells, let me be the quiet resistance. When resentment takes root, let me sow forgiveness instead. Not because it is easy, but because I want to live free. Let me protect my peace like treasure, not in selfishness, but in stewardship. Because peace is not something I hoarded, is something I host. And when I host it well, others are drawn closer to you. Let me be a peacemaker, not a peacekeeper. Help me not avoid conflict in fear, but step into it with courage and clarity. Let my desire to bring harmony, not silence, necessary truth. Let my confrontation be wrapped in love. Let my discipline reflect dignity. Let me not abandon boundaries, but enforce them with compassion. Let me remember that real peace is not the avoidance of tension, but the transformation of it. When anxiety knocks on the door of my mind, help me to open it with prayer instead of panic. Let me cast my cares with sincerity, not just recite words, but truly release what I cannot control. Let trust rise up where worry used to dwell. Let my breath slow, my heart steady, my soul remember, I am not alone. I never have been. You are the anchor that holds, even when I feel tossed around, even when the voices in the world say fear is the only option. Let mine whisper, peace, be still. Father, when I do not know what to do next, let peace be my compass. Let it be the green light that tells me I am aligned with you. Let it be the red flag that warns when I am striving in my own strength. Let me not confuse comfort with peace. Let me not assume ease means blessing or resistance means failure. Let me look for your peace in the places I least expect it, in the waiting, in the stretching, in the shadows where your presence still glows quietly. Help me extend peace to others, even when they have not earned it, even when they do not return it, even when they misunderstand it. Let me be one who disarms with grace, who speaks life into tension, who walks away from battles that do not need fighting, who knows that the greatest strength is found in surrender, not control. Let my inner world be so full of you that what spills out of me calms, not agitates, builds, not breaks, soothes, not provokes. Let peace show in how I love without condition, without hesitation. Let it show in how I forgive without needing repayment. Let it be seen in how I wait with expectation, not anxiety, in how I pray not just for answers, but for alignment. Let peace be the language of my soul. Let it speak when I have no words. Let it cover me like a garment I never take off. Let it be the fragrance I carry, the atmosphere I create, the home I invite others into. God, remind me that peace is a fruit, not a formula. It is something that grows where trust is planted. Let me tend to that soil. Let me water it with truth, guard it with wisdom, and protect it with your promises. Let it be bigger than my emotions and more durable than my doubts. Let peace have the final word, not fear, not shame, not the opinions of others. Let it write the conclusion to every argument in my mind with the ink of your presence. Let today be a testimony to the power of peace, not because everything is perfect, but because you are present, not because I feel strong, but because I am surrendered, not because I am unaffected, but because I am held. Let every step I take leave a trail of calm behind. Let every door I open carry stillness through it. Let every soul I encounter catch a glimpse of you through the still waters flowing from mine. And when the sun sets and my head rests again, let the same peace that met me this morning carry me gently into the night. Let it wrap around my mind like a quiet song. Let it linger in the corners of my thoughts, reminding me I was never alone, never forsaken, never left to figure it all out on my own. Peace is not a place I visit, it is a person I walk with. So let me walk closely today, and wherever I go, may peace go with me. Father, now that my heart is anchored in the quiet strength of peace, let me carry it not as a possession to be hidden, but as a light to be gently revealed, not in grand gestures or loud proclamations, but in small, quiet ways that reflect your presence with sincerity. Let my life today become a canvas for your compassion. Let each act, each choice, each moment whisper of you. I do not need recognition or applause, I need alignment. I need to walk in step with what you are already doing, to be attentive to divine nudges that lead me not into spectacle, but into significance. God, help me notice what I usually overlook, the sigh behind a smile, the silence that hides sorrow, the hurried pace of someone who is holding too much. Dante, let me rush through the sacred moments that look ordinary. Train my spirit to slow down enough to see what you see. Let me meet eyes without distraction, speak without rehearsed replies, listen without crafting my next response. Let presence become my offering, pure, available, uninterrupted. Lord, remind me that you are not only found in mountaintop moments or quiet rooms. You are in the hallway encounters, the shared glances, the kind responses. You are in the patient waiting at red lights, the gentle tone with a tired cashier, the way I respond when interrupted. These are not throwaway seconds. They are altars where I can choose to honor you with grace, even when no one sees it. And sometimes, especially then, let my gratitude not depend on circumstance, but become a natural response to simply being alive and being loved by you. If the coffee spills or the sky stays gray, if traffic is slow and plans unravel, remind me that these things do not hold the power to disrupt the joy you planted within me. Let me laugh freely, not because everything is perfect, but because joy does not need perfection to bloom. Let me find delight in ordinary graces. A breeze through the window, a word well-timed, the sound of laughter from a child nearby. Let me be deeply present in the smallest of miracles. Teach me that holiness is not just found in the absence of distraction, but in my response to it. That worship is not only in the song, but in how I carry out the mundane. That praise is not always loud, it can be found in choosing integrity when no one is watching, in forgiving quickly, in letting go without explanation. You are in the spaces that seem unimportant to others. Let me carry reverence for each moment I am given. Father, help me steward today's energy with wisdom. Let me not exhaust myself trying to fix what is not mine to hold. Let me not drain my spirit by overthinking conversations or analyzing silence. Free me from imaginary arguments and from the prison of needing everyone to understand me. Let peace rule my inner world and free me from emotional entanglements I was never meant to carry. You are not asking me to prove my worth, you are asking me to walk in it. And when I work, let me do so with quiet excellence, not chasing recognition, but aiming for impact. Let me clean, write, speak, build, serve whatever I do with intentionality and care. Let my diligence be worship. Let my stewardship of small tasks open the door to greater things, not because I crave more, but because I want to be trustworthy with what you have placed in my hands. If no one notices, let it still be sacred. If it is never celebrated, let it still be done with joy. Let kindness be my rhythm. Let it move through my tone, my timing, my choices. Let it interrupt me when I am tempted to judge. Let it redirect my thoughts when I want to assume. Let it become my automatic posture towards strangers, friends, family, and even those who are difficult to love, not because they have earned it, but because I have received it in ways I never deserved. I do not want to mirror the world, I want to mirror you. Let love be the reflection others see when they encounter me. Even briefly, God, protect me from growing numb. Let my heart remain soft even when it feels vulnerable. Let compassion interrupt convenience. Let mercy win when pride wants to rise. Let me respond with hope instead of cynicism, curiosity instead of criticism. Keep me tender in a world that rewards detachment. Keep me open in a world that teaches self-preservation. Let me carry gentleness as a strength, not a weakness. Let my boundaries be firm but filled with grace. Let me say no when I need to, without guilt. Let me say yes with intention, not obligation. Help me release the need to be everything for everyone, and instead be exactly who you have asked me to be, for those you have placed before me. I do not need to be loud to be light. I do not need to be seen to be significant. I only need to stay close to you, and in that closeness, everything finds its rhythm. Father, today may hold interruptions, surprises, unexpected turns. But if I stay aligned with you, I won't be lost in them. Let me greet interruptions not with irritation, but with curiosity, asking what you might want to reveal or reshape. Let me turn delay into reflection, waiting into worship, disappointment into trust. You waste nothing. Let me remember that even detours can lead me into beauty I never planned for. As I move forward, let every word I speak carry weight. Let my silence be thoughtful, not cold. Let my presence be calming, not demanding. Let others feel lighter after encountering me. Let them feel heard, honored, not rushed or dismissed. Let me be fully here, fully aware, fully willing to be used in whatever way you choose. And if I begin to feel small, overlooked, or unimportant, remind me that nothing rooted in you is ever wasted. You see every seed, every whisper, every act of quiet obedience. You are the rewarder of what is done in secret. Let me find joy not in outcomes, but in obedience, not in applause, but in your nearness. Let that be enough. Let that be everything. Let that be the quiet anthem I carry in my chest as I step into whatever this day may hold. Father, if I could see myself through your eyes this morning, perhaps I would stop striving to earn a worth I already carry. I would let go of the weight I silently place upon my own shoulders, expecting myself to be flawless when you only asked me to be faithful. Let your gentleness echo in the way I treat myself today. Let it soften my inner voice, calm the pressure I sometimes mistake for purpose, and quiet the harshness I too quickly adopt when I fall short. God, I realize now how much energy I spend judging my own progress, questioning my pace, doubting my growth. But you do not measure my journey the way I do. You are not impatient with my becoming. You are not frustrated by my learning. You are not tallying my mistakes to weigh against my victories. You are nurturing me the way a gardener tends to new life carefully, attentively, patiently knowing that what is planted in your love will bloom in its due time. Lord, I want to meet this day without carrying the fear of failure in my chest. Let me breathe in peace where I once inhaled pressure. Let me embrace the quiet truth that I am allowed to grow slowly, allowed to be human, allowed to rest when I need rest without guilt. You are not a taskmaster demanding perfection before blessing. You are a Father who delights in every honest effort, every small surrender, every moment I choose to return to you instead of running away in shame. Teach me how to speak kindly to myself when I feel behind. Let me silence the inner critic that echoes too loudly. Let me recognize that growth often happens in silence and progress is not always visible. Remind me that healing can look like stillness. Maturity can sound like pause. Strength sometimes feels like letting go, not holding on tighter. Let me believe what you say about me above what fear says. Let your truth be louder than the narrative of self-doubt I have rehearsed for far too long. Let today be a practice in grace. When I forget something, let me respond with laughter instead of frustration. When I fall short of my expectations, let me learn rather than condemn. When I get distracted or discouraged, let me realign instead of unravel. Let me be as patient with my journey as you have been with me. Let me become a safe place within myself, a home where your spirit dwells freely, not a battlefield of unmet standards and constant criticism. And Father, let me not confuse gentleness with complacency. Help me to remain committed to growth, but never in a way that robs me of joy or burns out my soul. Let me pursue excellence through love, not fear. Let me give my best not because I am afraid of being less, because I know you have placed greatness within me. Let my motivation be rooted in purpose, not perfectionism. Let every effort come from a heart that longs to honor you, not a heart that is afraid of falling short. Lord, if I feel tired today, let me rest without apology. If my best looks different than yesterday, let me embrace it. If all I can do is show up and remain present, let that be enough. Let me celebrate progress in its smallest forms, a deeper breath, a better choice, a softer word, a moment of clarity. These are not insignificant. These are sacred victories. Let me not miss the beauty of what you are doing, because I am too focused on what I have not done. God, protect me from comparing my journey with others. Let me see my life through the lens of grace, not competition. You wrote my story with intentionality, and there is no need to copy someone else's rhythm. Let me celebrate their growth without questioning my own. Let me rejoice in their light without dimming mine. Let me live from abundance, not scarcity, from peace, not panic, from confidence in your plan, not fear of being left behind. When my mind begins to spiral into thoughts of inadequacy or pressure, draw me back to the present moment where you dwell. Help me practice gratitude for where I am, even if it is not where I want to be yet. Let me find joy not in reaching the destination, but in walking with you through every twist and turn. Let me trust that what you are doing in me matters, even if no one sees it, even if I do not fully understand it yet, even if it looks like nothing is changing. And when I make mistakes, let me be honest but not harsh. Let me confess but not collapse. Let me apologize without losing my sense of worth. You do not demand shame as proof of my sincerity. You ask for my heart, not my punishment. You are the one who lifts my face, not lowers my head. Let me mirror that love back to myself, again and again. Father, let me remember that gentleness is strength under control. It is power wrapped in peace. It is choosing kindness even when I feel frustrated. It is slowing down to care for what is fragile. Let me carry that gentleness not only toward others, but inward. Let it shape the way I carry my memories, my failures, my hopes, and my healing. Let gentleness be the rhythm that moves through my thoughts, my words, my actions, and my silences. Let me treat my body with compassion today, not as an obstacle or a project, but as a vessel that allows me to love, to serve, to be. Let me nourish it without obsession. Let me rest it without shame. Let me honor it as something you have created not for comparison, but for communion. Let me notice how it supports me, how it speaks, how it carries stories I am still learning to listen to. Let gentleness extend even there. And if I feel like I am not enough, let that feeling become the doorway to remembering that I was never meant to be enough without you. That the invitation was always to walk with you, not to perform for you. That I was always held, even when I thought I was failing. That I was always known, even when I forgot who I was. That I was always loved, even when I did not feel lovable. Let this truth wash over me and become the foundation I return to when everything else feels unstable. As the day unfolds, remind me again and again to be tender with my soul, to breathe slowly, to speak kindly, to pause before reacting, to forgive myself the way you do, to create space for peace in the pace I choose, to let go of perfection and lean into presence. And as I carry this gentleness, may it become contagious, spilling over into the lives touch, turning every ordinary interaction into an echo of your love. Father, as the gentleness I have been learning to offer myself begins to soften the corners of my soul, I now find myself longing for the kind of trust that anchors me when clarity slips through my grasp, when the path ahead is veiled in fog, and each step feels like an act of blind faith. Let my heart lean not on certainty but on you. Help me move forward, not because I see everything clearly, because I know you see what I cannot. Let that be enough for this day. Lord, I often crave guarantees. I want to know the full plan, the end from the beginning, the outcome before I take the risk. But you rarely work in blueprints. You invite me into the unknown, not to leave me lost, but to lead me into a deeper dependence. Teach me how to find peace in the not knowing. Teach me how to stay grounded when there is no map in my hands, only your presence in my heart. You are not late. You are not silent. You are not distant. You are preparing the way, even when I cannot yet trace it. God, there are days when I wrestle with fear that I have missed something, made a wrong turn, or delayed my purpose. But you do not shame me when I hesitate. You gently guide me back to the next right step. You whisper that redemption is always possible, that detours do not cancel destiny. Let me believe that no moment is wasted when it is placed in your hands. Let me trust that even when I feel like I am standing still, you are still moving within me, shaping something I may not yet recognize. When my prayers feel unanswered, remind me that silence does not mean absence. Let me wait well. Let me listen deeper. Let me see the delay not as denial, but as a space you are using to strengthen my roots. Let this hidden work prepare me for the weight of the blessings you are building. Let patience become a holy practice, not a punishment. Let it teach me to see beyond my timeline and tune into yours. Let me grow more loyal to your voice than to my schedule. Father, when confusion clouds my thoughts, let your peace become my compass. Let it be the stillness I return to again and again. I do not need to see the entire staircase, just the next step. Help me trust that one faithful step is enough for today. That one moment of courage, one act of obedience, one decision to keep going, can carry me into the unfolding of something far greater than I can imagine. Let me be willing to follow you even when it looks like nothing is happening, even when others move faster, shine brighter, or seem surer. Let me not despise the quiet places where nothing appears to grow. Often, those are the places where roots run deepest. Let me honor the hidden parts of my journey as sacred. You are not in a hurry. You are not measuring me by milestones. You are molding me for more than achievement. You are growing endurance, character, compassion. God, when I am tempted to strive or force a door open, remind me that what you open, no one can shut. Let me release the illusion that everything depends on me. Let me rest in the truth that you go before me. You align circumstances. You prepare hearts. You orchestrate the unseen. Let me move with you, not ahead of you. Let surrender be the rhythm that replaces striving. Let trust be the posture I return to when anxiety starts to build. Let me trust the process, even when I do not recognize the pieces. Let me walk through today believing that the lessons I am learning are shaping me for what is next. Let me see waiting as a classroom, not a cage. Let me believe that what I am being prepared for is worth the space it takes to become ready. Let me resist the urge to compare timelines, to rush healing, or to shortcut transformation. The work you do in secret will someday speak loudly through my life. Father, sometimes I fear I want to be ready for what is coming. But you do not call the ready. You ready the called. You equip the willing. You fill the empty. You strengthen the surrendered. Let me not fear the future, but face it with an open heart, knowing I will never face it alone. You will walk with me into every unknown. You will be the wisdom I need, the strength I require, the peace I carry. Let me not define progress by visibility. Let me learn to see growth in how I respond, in how I love, in how I choose to believe when belief feels fragile. Let trust become the lens through which I interpret each moment. Let it reshape my thoughts, reframe my questions, renew my perspective. Let me look at this day not as something to conquer, but as something to walk through with you. God, if I begin to doubt, hold me steady. If I start to question, meet me with assurance. If I feel overwhelmed, draw me back into the safety of your arms. Let me see every closed door as divine protection, every redirection as divine mercy, every delay as divine timing. Let me walk forward even with trembling hands, because trust does not require perfection, it only requires movement. Let me celebrate the courage it takes to trust when evidence is scarce. Let me notice the bravery in not giving up. Let me see the hollowness in simply staying open to possibility. Let me rejoice in the faith it takes to believe that something good is coming, even when I cannot define it. You are the author of hope. You write beauty from ashes, light from darkness, direction from stillness. Father, I give you this path I cannot yet name. I give you the hours ahead, the questions that linger, the decisions I am unsure about. I offer you the places I feel inadequate and the ones where I feel invisible. You are doing more than I know. You are moving in ways I cannot yet comprehend. Let me trust the unfolding. Let me trust the mystery. Let me find joy not in knowing the future, but in knowing the one who holds it. Let my soul walk slower today, not from laziness, but from confidence. Let me breathe with a rhythm that trusts in divine timing. Let me listen closely, speak gently, and act boldly when you whisper. Let trust not be a concept I admire, but a reality I embody. Let it become the fabric of my decisions, the pulse behind my peace, the melody of my moments. And as the light rises upon this day, may my trust rise with it. Like the sun that does not ask permission to shine, may I step forward with quiet confidence, not because I know the destination, but because I trust the one who walks with me every step of the way. Lord, as this quiet morning unfolds and the journey of this prayer draws to a gentle pause, I find myself not searching for more words, but breathing deeper into the presence that has stayed with me through every moment. You have walked with me through doubt and joy, fear and peace, longing and contentment. You have never stepped away. And now, in this hush, I am reminded that your nearness is the most certain thing I know. I do not have to see you to trust you. I only need to remember how it feels when I rest in you. God, thank you for the stillness that whispers your name louder than any thunder. Thank you for holding space for me when I have no answers. Thank you for letting me be fragile without withdrawing your love. You are not intimidated by my questions, nor disappointed by my pauses. You are the steady voice when mine trembles, the calm when everything around me feels loud, the warmth when I stand alone. Even here, even now, you are still enough. Father, sometimes it takes slowing down to remember that I was never supposed to carry everything on my own. You invite me to surrender not out of defeat, but into freedom. Let me release what I was never meant to hold. Let me stop striving for a version of myself you never asked me to become. Let me breathe like someone who belongs to grace. Let me walk like someone who is already loved. Let my life no longer be about performance, but presence. You have shown me that trust is not built in the moments where everything makes sense, but in the ones where I choose you, even when I do not understand. You have taught me that healing does not always announce itself with clarity, but often arrives in quiet, steady shifts that I only notice in hindsight. You have whispered that I am more than what I do, more than where I succeed or fall short. I am yours, and in being yours, I lack nothing that truly matters. Lord, as I stand on the edge of whatever comes next, let me go forward with peace that surpasses what I can plan. Let me carry this stillness with me, not just in sacred spaces like this, but into the noise, into the demands, into the ordinary corners of today. Let this peace shape how I respond, how I speak, how I love. Let it be the undercurrent that steadies me when I am rushed, the anchor when I feel pulled in too many directions. Let me remember that clarity may fade, but connection with you does not, that my purpose is not measured in the outcome, but in the obedience to keep going, that a life lived in communion with you is never wasted, never hidden, never small. Let me treasure the unseen, the unnoticed, the uncelebrated steps of faith, because that is where you dwell in the honest, the surrendered, the quietly faithful. God, you do not need my perfection. You long for my attention. You do not require grand gestures. You simply ask that I return again and again to your voice, your ways, your love. Let me not wait for ideal conditions to respond. Let me respond now. Let me choose you here. Let this be the morning I draw a line in the sand and say, I will walk with you, not just when it is clear or easy, but always, because you are worthy of trust, not only for what you give, but for who you are. And if I falter along the way, if my heart grows tired or unsure, let this prayer echo in me like a familiar song. Let it rise in my memory when I am low. Let it speak to me when my courage feels small. Let it remind me of how far I have come, of the grace that has held me through every chapter. I am not who I was when I began this prayer. Something has shifted. Something has softened. Something has been healed, even if I cannot yet name it. Let me bless the slow work. Let me bless the quiet yes. Let me bless the unseen progress. The days when I showed up even without the strength to speak. Let me bless the times I trusted even with trembling hands. These are holy offerings. These are sacred altars. These are the invisible victories that shape eternity more than I know. Lord, Thank you for meeting me every step of this journey. Thank you for staying through the moments when I wanted to run. Thank you for calling me worthy, even when I saw only weakness. Thank you for reminding me that do not need to have it all together to be deeply loved. You have always been patient. You have always been kind. You have always been near. Now, as this morning unfolds into light, let me carry with me the assurance that I am not alone. Let me walk slower. Listen deeper. Love truer. Let me see you not just in quiet prayer, but in conversations, in interruptions, in nature, in the faces of those around me. Let me recognize you in the unexpected. Let me be interrupted by grace. And when the day feels long or heavy, let me return to this space not because I need new words, but because I need the one who gave them. Let me return not out of routine, but relationship. Let this rhythm of morning prayer not end here, but continue in how I live, how I see, how I give. Let my life become a living prayer, unfolding, evolving, breathing, always reaching for you. To those who have journeyed to this final breath of prayer with me, thank you. Thank you for lending your spirit to this space. Thank you for carrying these words into the sacred corners of your life. You are not alone. Your seeking is seen. Your heart is heard. May these prayers continue to echo within you long after the last line is spoken. If this journey has met you in your hidden places, I invite you to share your own voice below. Your words may be the encouragement someone else needs today. And if this prayer has blessed you, I invite you to subscribe to the channel, to share it with others, to keep the rhythm of faith alive in your life. Let us walk together seeking light, holding hope, and trusting the gentle wind of grace. And as the morning light spills gently through the trees, as the breeze stirs quietly through the leaves, may you know this one thing deeply, tenderly, undeniably: you are held, you are loved, and you are never walking this path alone.